If you're an Amazon seller, you're in the right place. If you're wondering how do you deal with Section 3 and the terrifying fear of being suspended, you're in the right place. My business partner, Grant Dunn below, is going to share his story of not only how he doubled his store this year in 2024, but how right in the middle of this whole transition, he got suspended by Section 3 and how he overcame that. So this is going to be really a heartstring webinar today. So I want to thank you guys for joining us. I see a bunch of y'all in chat, so welcome here. Grant, good morning. Taylor, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Awesome.
Good.
That's what I got, man. We're gonna
We're brothers. I think we literally said that the exact same way.
I'll give a quick edification. If you guys don't know, Grant, I'll edify you real quick. We jump on these things and pour our hearts out and serve. Grant, you used to be a plumber about 11 or 12 years ago. You got sick of the trades and you got sick of not being with your family and not seeing your kids. And so you made the decision to become an Amazon seller, started studying and learning, and you've been selling for 10 or 11 years now. I always lose track of time.
Pushing 11 now.
Pushing 11. So you've been running a 7-figure store for the last couple of years, and you'll tell this story today, but in full transparency, about a year ago, you had we've had a rough patch. It's been a rough year for us, just like it's been a rough patch for you guys. And you humbled yourself and said, hey, I'm going to become a student of the game again. I want to learn how I can grow and scale my store. And you really dug in. And then right when you dug in and made that decision and shoved a ton of inventory at Amazon, probably sent more in than you've ever sent in your life, you got whacked with Section 3. So we're going to talk about that today. And I'm also joined by Taylor. If you guys don't know Taylor Dunn, he's our operations guy at OA Cheddar. He runs all of the list management that you guys, for those of you guys that are subscribed, he runs our software team. For those of you guys that are Cheddar Soft subscribers, he also is transitioning out of the day-to-day sourcing of your Amazon store, but you've been doing that for years too. So you've got a lot of real specialized wisdom that we'll pull out here today. So you guys ready to get started? Drop a yes in chat. I see Charlotte, Liz from Wisconsin, Leah Modlin in the house. What's up, Leah? I was looking outside to see if it was still raining. Jamie from Idaho. I see Jackie from South Carolina. Jackie, welcome back. Kelly, welcome back again. I see a lot of names that were here yesterday, so that's good to see. So you guys are ready to rock and roll. Grant, you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready.
All right, guys. So here's the deal. Just like yesterday, this webinar is interactive, okay? You're going to get out of today what you put in. So we want this to be fun for you. So drop in chat where you're from. 2 reasons for that. 1, I want to make sure the chat works for you. And 2, you might be surprised and make a friend in your local area. And if you do that, that'll make us happy. So we had that happen on yesterday's training. We had some people connecting. So drop that in the chat. And here's your expectation for today. Grab a cup of coffee or your morning juice, whatever you guys drink on a Saturday morning, and carve out about the next 90 minutes to watch this entire presentation. Okay, we've got a lot of content to cover, and we've never shared this stuff. Grant's never shared this story publicly, and he's going to share some things that are very intimate to his business, and we're doing that to bless you guys, okay? And at the end of today, the reason you want to stick around, for those of you guys that were on yesterday, we've opened the cart to Cheddar Black. So you guys got the emails. If at any point today you're inspired and you want to join us for Q4 in our Q4 group, Cheddar Black, you can go to cheddarblack.com and sign up. We had a bunch of people join yesterday. Seats are limited to this group. Once we fill up, we'll close this group for the end of the year, but you can still get in today. And that's what's going to happen. That's what we're doing. So Grant, I'll let you talk about the agenda. I've just introduced Grant Dunn. You guys know him. He's my co-founder of OA Cheddar. We started this lead list business on accident about how many years ago?
2018 is when we started selling leads, yeah.
2018. So Grant, I'll turn the floor over to you. Appreciate you, brother. Without further ado, guys, Grant Dunn.
Cool. Thank you. Hey, guys, welcome. Glad you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about essentially how I've doubled the store. And I can't say I lead the team, I own the business, but I couldn't do it without the help of Taylor and our new team that I'll be talking about on this call. So we're going to dig into all of that. Today, the goal is a 7-figure flyover. I'm not going to be able to get into the weeds too much on any particular topic. So just imagine, we're kind of looking at the business as a whole from a distance. So I'm going to talk about how I kind of launched myself into student mode last year, what it looked like building the team and what the team looks like and the structure right now. How I 2x'd the growth of the 2x growth strategies, basically how we doubled the size of our store, and then the results. Let me get into here. There we go. Okay. So to set the intention, guys, my goal is to help you by inspiring belief in yourself, motivate you to massive action in your business leading into the next really Q4 and beyond. I want you to know that you are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. It's too often we think about where we want to go and where we're not, and that can kind of bring us down. I want to encourage you that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you need to be keeping your eyes on the path in front of you. Often we overestimate what we can create, what we can do in a week or a month, and we underestimate what can happen in a year. And that's what you're going to see on this call. And then also your next steps. Gabe will help with that after I'm done. So a little bit more about me. You guys heard me yesterday, but I didn't get into this type of stuff. I've been married for 15 years, I think at least. My wife tells me we've been together for 17 years. So 2 years dating, I guess, and then 15 years of marriage. We have 3 boys, a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 10-year-old. I talked about my 10-year-old yesterday when he helped me with fulfilling orders during Q4 last year. And we got a 2-year-old. He's currently being potty trained. So that's fun. I'm glad that that's a role that my wife is taking over for us. So, and always has, right? I can't take any credit for potty training. So, I launched my Amazon business FBA in 2014. Prior to that, I did some drop shipping and of course affiliate marketing and stuff in the earlier 2000s. I've done $12 million on Amazon so far, a little more than that. I'm the co-founder of OA Cheddar with my co-founder Gabe, and Cheddar Soft, soon to be SourceFlow. We're super excited about the release of our new software. Back in May of 2023, so last year, my wife and I went to Maui, Hawaii for the first time. And it was 5 days, no kids, just the 2 of us. And we were actually celebrating with family and my nephew getting married to his beautiful wife. So it was a really good time, got to do snorkeling, and just, it was awesome. But that launched me something about, and this always works for me. I don't know. I just came back from Oregon, by the way, too. So like going to the ocean is like, I don't know. It's where I go to expand my mind and to kind of put away all of the things that aren't working in life. And it helps me to see clearer how to get to where I'm trying to go or would like to go in life. And so I cast a new vision in Maui. I came back with some vigor in me and some enthusiasm about what I wanted to do and how I was going to get where I was going to go. And one of the parts of that vision was essentially doubling the size of our Amazon store and start just kind of experimenting with what is possible. You know, I've always had this perception that, you know, I don't know, I've had this mental block that, you know, $1 million store with OA, that's kind of the norm. And then, but I'm like, well, how hard can I push this, right? And I'm seeing other people push it further. So how do I do 200K? How do I double that? And so on. So, and specifically, I wanted to do 200K within Q1 and Q3, not Q4. So 2x sales and revenue and profit. Okay, so this was normal for my business, guys. This is just this is the farthest I could go back. September of 2022 through August of 2023. This is my overall sales. And it's just kind of show you guys like what was a normal rhythm for our business. And it had been this way, it has been this way up until the last 12 months, like pretty much every year, like running around 100,000 months, and then a little bit more during the Q4 months. So 2 big problems that I identified once I set this vision. One of the first problems I identified was that I had been in cruise control for 5 years on the Amazon store. So a lot of my focus over these 5 years was on OA Cheddar and then on a supplement brand that I ran for 5 years. And I kind of put all my energy on that. And the Amazon store was always just kind of on the back burner, something that we just maintained. And I had completely outsourced it. I was pretty much hands off on the Amazon store for the most part. And so I realized I've got to get in the trenches. I felt intellectually behind, that I hadn't been learning for a long time, and that there was so much going on in the Amazon seller space that I was just not aware of, right? And so I was motivated to learn. So I launched myself into student mode. And so pretty much from May of 2023, when I came back from Hawaii until today, I've acquired virtual mentors through X.com, YouTube, podcasts, and courses. And I just essentially dove into learning. I thought this Billy Madison picture was pretty awesome. That's kind of how I felt because I dive into this market, right? And I'm like, I've been in my own little bubble for a while with OA Cheddar and everything we're doing and focusing on these other things. And I realized like all of the heavy hitters in this space are like sub 25 years old. And so that was kind of interesting to realize. And I started learning from these young guys. It was really fun. Obviously there's Christopher Grant, who's I think the GOAT of teaching, but and I learn from him every day. So Seller University, this is kind of what happened to me. In the last 12 months, I've went to two events. One was at the Miami Seller Conference with Taylor, and the second one was the Proven Conference, Jim Cochran's conference with Taylor, Gabe, and Cindy. Learned a ton of things. Realized I've got to be going to more events. I launched into Lego investing, one of the mentors virtual mentors that I have been following for a while, does Lego investing and used book selling. And so that exposed me to seasonal arbitrage, used books and Lego investing. Actually, that's a real picture of my Lego stash that I purchased from retired Lego sets last year. I'm just kind of dipping my toes in the water. I don't have the long-term hold game right now, more of the fast turn with OA and regular Amazon selling, but I've got those Legos increasing in value as they sit into my closet in the other room. And also launched myself into doing more A to A. I've done a lot more Amazon to Amazon flips over the last 12 months than I probably ever have, because that's something I enjoy doing and I know how to do it. So, and then of course 50K with FBM. I talked about that yesterday, where we did 50K with FBM, made about $10,000 or $9,000 in profit, and then we built a new team. So. By the way, this keep a graph in the bottom left corner, I don't know if you guys have ever looked into like seasonal OA, used books OA, and buying directly from resellers on Amazon, used copies, and then reselling them on Amazon for a profit during the peak selling season. That's what that looks like. This is a keep a graph from a book that I bought in the $75 range and sold more closer to the $140. Okay, so problem number 2 that I identified is that the team that I currently had in May of 2023 wasn't going to get us where we wanted to go. And part of that is because we were all part-time, we're all US, and of course, US labor is expensive. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm competing with other sellers that are hiring virtual assistants, then and to run their business, then I need to start looking into like hiring my first virtual assistants for my Amazon FBA store. If you guys have been around for a long time, you know that OA Cheddar runs on outsourcing to the Philippines. We have a huge team, well, not a huge team, but a large team in the Philippines that does a lot of our lead gen. And that's how we deliver our services. So I'd done it there, but I'd never really applied virtual assistants to my own Amazon account. And so we had to make a change. So this led me to like the decision I made was like, I need a personal assistant. I need someone that they're dedicated to sitting with me, learning, like absorbing from me everything I know about running this business so that I can essentially start duplicating myself again, similar to what I've done with Taylor and Charles, but I need to do it with someone that costs a quarter of what it costs for US labor. And so what I launched her into, essentially the first stuff that I started teaching her was Prep Center, how to manage the Prep Center. All of our inventory goes to Network Prep, and more recently we're also using Proven Prep. Not afraid to share that. They're great companies, guys. Those I would reach out to either of those if you're looking for a good Prep Center. And with a massive amount of volume of stuff that we ship in, there's a lot of questions that come up, things that they can't find on the sheet or whatever else, damaged products, missing inventory. There's just a lot of stuff when it comes to ordering high volumes of inventory, sending it to a prep center that then goes into FBA, like figuring out the logistics on all of that and how to manage it and maintain it and make sure that we're not hemorrhaging money or essentially have breakage that's not being reconciled is a big job. So Prep Center was like priority number 1, and order reconciling is part of that equation. And then obviously Seller Central Management. So how I trained my assistant and how she essentially has become my VPO. So I'm really kind of impressing on her that she is now my VPO, my vice president of operations, specifically in the Philippines. But ultimately, I want her running the team. Okay, with obviously my my help. So the training style was we would just jump on a weekly Zoom. We just scheduled on Google Calendar one call a week because that's what I felt like I had the capacity for. And I still feel like that's about all I have the capacity for. I don't love jumping on calls. It's not one of my favorite things. However, I am learning to enjoy it more, especially now that me and my VPO have become pretty good friends. We're like literally the exact same age, and she's awesome. So we would get on these Zooms and we would sit on there for 2 to 3 hours. We still do this today. It's been over a year now that we've been meeting for these calls once a week. Sometimes we miss. We would start with a topic because I really didn't know where to start. Really, I'm not the SOP guy that's got it all written up and be like, here's a perfect system. Like I had to teach her the system, and then you'll see how that's evolved into SOPs and stuff. So we'd start with a topic and we would just start solving problems. And so I would screen share and I would just basically be talking out loud, speaking out loud. We'd be having a conversation and we'd be solving problems. We would create a plan on how to either maintain or continually execute on a certain task, or how to continually manage these problems that will come up. And then I would pass over that responsibility. I think that's really key. Like, this is now your responsibility. Here's how often, like, let's talk about how often you should do it. Okay, you're going to do this every Monday and every Thursday. It should take you about an hour to an hour and a half every time that you execute this task. And then I would pass that on. And then she like impressed the heck out of me. She would go and basically like draft all this up into like Google Sheets and stuff. And so we estimated, I was talking to her the other day, we estimated that we've probably been on about 100 hours worth of Zooms. And some of those Zooms have even gone for like 4 hours where we're just both exhausted, but we're hammering out a lot of really important stuff. And then I've got regular feedback on Slack. So there's a great feedback loop on Slack where she can message me and then I'll respond to certain scenarios, certain issues that she's needing my feedback on. And then, of course, a lot of times when I'm just doing business on my own time and I identify a problem, I'll create a Loom recording and I'll send that off to her or anybody else on the team. They study that Loom recording. I require that they give me feedback. So tell me, I've watched the recording. This is what I learned and this is what I'm going to do. And then that weekly call is where we can kind of tie up any loose ends from any Loom recordings I sent previously. So VPO characteristics, or like your right-hand man that you should be looking for. And this is like, I will say, you guys, she's been an incredible blessing to me. And I feel like, not common, right? I think to find someone as amazing as my VPO in the Philippines is something you're going to have to maybe rinse through a few interviews and a few trials with certain individuals before you find that perfect person, or you're going to have a few people take on certain tasks. So for what I had with her was high quality English. She studied journalism and was like reading the dictionary as a kid, the English dictionary. So she's got very good English. So got lucky there. She has had previous experience in managing Seller Central and in doing online arbitrage. Very detail oriented. She takes thorough notes while we're on the call that I can then review and make sure that she was paying attention. She asks really good questions, and I think that's the key, right? If the conversation is always one-sided and you're the one talking and they're not like, engaging and asking questions and asking for follow-up, there's a really good chance they're not understanding what you're saying, which can be a big problem. Executes the first time. Like, you don't have to tell someone to do something more than once, unless they're just not sure how to do it. But they should be the one that identifies, I don't know how to do this and I need more help. And then they go to you. But if they're afraid to approach you with those types of scenarios, then there's a problem there and you need to figure that out. And it could be a personality problem, or it could just be like something else. Don't settle for less than great. That's my opinion. If you're going to have somebody like really run your team, they've got to be amazing. And they're out there, you guys. A lot of these people in the Philippines, I'll tell you, are like much smarter than a lot of us here in the US. They're more intelligent. They may be less likely to take risk or less able to take risk, but they're very smart. So VPO task, I'm just going to rip through this, guys. They have to be a problem solver with the prep center, research, contact suppliers, handle returns, replacements, order reconciling. Got to go through Cheddar Soft orders. All of our orders are coming right out of Cheddar Soft. They're going into the order system, and then we reconcile those orders to make sure we're not spending money on inventory that we don't get, and a bunch of other scenarios. Credit card statements, I have her actually make sure that whatever I'm getting charged on my credit card is actually like inventory, right? That there's not, and it happens sometimes where you'll get charged, you don't have the product. Gift cards, so handling gift card reconciling and Amazon to Amazon records. So anytime I do an A to 8 order, just another way to save me time so that I can enjoy my job more is like I'll place an Amazon flip order and then I just take I just save the PDF and put it into Google Drive, and then it gets recorded into our system by somebody else. It doesn't save me a ton of time, but it allows me to just move on to the next thing and quickly rip through buying stuff from Amazon. Seller Central, voice of the customer management. When stuff goes wrong and customers are complaining, we probably got to close that listing and figure out what happened. So then investigating what's wrong. Is it the wrong size? Did the prep center make a mistake? Did we buy the wrong thing? Is it not a model number match? What, or is it just a bad product and we just need to get out of the store and liquidate it on eBay? Seller feedback, account health management, stranded inventory, suppressed inventory, reimbursements, setting max order quantities, which is just a way for you to kind of hide yourself on Keepa offers records, by the way, and kind of take the target off of your store by setting a max order quantity. That's a pretty decent tip, I think. And then removal orders and deleting listings, managing all of the stuff that comes from FBA and into our eBay prep center. All of that stuff has to get managed. And then recording our KPIs, making sure we're on track and sharing that with the team, meeting now with the team. And then now one of the things when she has the spare time and we're creating more room in her schedule, she's actually drafting up the SOPs. So this is like my favorite part because I think SOPs are good for any business, of course, but it's not something I enjoy doing. And now that I'm teaching her how to run the business and all of the important stuff that we do, she's actually able to draft up the SOPs. So we have that manual for the team as we continue to grow. I'll just stop right there. Like, are we doing good? I feel like I've been talking a lot, and I see the chat kind of moving, but I'm not looking at it. Is there anything to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple questions. We'll take a quick little intermission here. People are asking what you pay VAs. So this is, I mean, I'll say this because we've hired a lot of VAs over the last 8 years or so. And Taylor, you could speak into this too, but you can pay a basic VA like. I mean, a lot of people will fight over like the $3-4 an hour people. Some of our best VAs will make, Taylor, is this $5 to $8 range is pretty typical?
Yeah, so a good wage in the Philippines, a good starting out wage would be like $5 an hour. I would say when you're hiring a VA, you should go through a trial period, and then that trial period maybe do it for less. But $5 an hour is a good starting out rate. It gives you room to reward your VA for good work, give them raises, bonuses, things like that. And for the VA itself, it's a good starting out point.
Yeah, I would actually push up against that a little bit, and I would say that someone needs to earn $5 an hour in the Philippines. That's a wage they need to acquire from you through. I think they need to prove themselves. I think you could start a VA at $3 an hour. It used to be $2. I think 3 and 3.5 is kind of the bottom, though. And of course, the more you're willing to pay, the higher quality you're going to get. So to Taylor's point, right? If you're looking at trying to capture a VPO, then I would argue, yes, maybe you're looking at $4 or $5 an hour, maybe even a little bit more. But they need to, like, if you're going to start them at that wage, your expectations should be pretty high, right? Now, in our lead gen team, we have people who earn anywhere from $4 to $7 an hour, depending on the season and depending on their ability to generate high quality leads. And so that's kind of how OA Cheddar looks. I'll tell you that the VPO, it's $5 an hour right now with 13th month, with time off, with twice now I've just said, hey, I really appreciate you. You're making an impact, not just in the business, but in my personal life. Thank you so much. Please add some money to your invoice. And so I'll have her add like 40 or $50. Nothing crazy. I look forward to what I'm talking to my team now about is essentially we have a goal of getting to a certain net profit threshold on Inventory Lab, and we'll factor in all the other things. But I know there is a certain number of sales and a certain number of net profit from Amazon before cashback, credit card rewards, and gift card savings, and all, and eBay liquidation, all that. And when they get there, we're going to start doing a profit share. I'm going to start taking a piece of the top and just sharing it amongst them. We haven't got into those details quite yet, but there will be there is going to be that carrot, and then I want them to see the business. I want them to want the business to succeed, and I want them to want to protect the business as well. And I will say one thing that's really important, guys. I don't think I could have hired this VPO off the street and it gone as well as it did for the last 12 months. We have a relationship with this person. In fact, everybody that's working with once worked for OA Cheddar. This VPO, actually, she resigned a while ago because she wasn't performing as well as she had hoped she would, and she actually resigned to go work elsewhere and more on a seller central management level. And I went to Cindy and was like, "Hey, I need a personal assistant. Who do you have in mind?" And she was like, "Therese would be great for that role." And so I reached out to her.
Cool. So I don't want to camp out here because we got a bunch more, but there was another really good question. And I think a lot of people are thinking this, but Lori said, are you having your VAs do sourcing? So you hired one, this is for your personal store. So you hired one and you having her do all this stuff. Taylor, you answered this question. So she's not doing direct sourcing, but what, basic rabbit trailing on OA Cheddar leads, sourcing from old data, very little actual new lead gen, right? I mean, most of your store grant is accurate is just OA Cheddar data that you rabbit trail on.
Yeah, like new lead gen, bringing in our own. Well, so I'm going to talk about this later on in the slides, but we are expanding out our reach with moving past OA Cheddar leads, but we're using OA Cheddar leads as the foundation still. So we'll get into that.
Cool. And then last thing, you mentioned this. I want to bring this back up. This is a great little tip. If you guys have never used Loom, Grant mentioned this. You can record quick little videos. There's a little button that lives. You download an extension or something. It lives right on your computer, and you can cut a quick little video, screen share, and send it off. And so that's a big tip. We're big believers in limiting calls. I mean, Grant, you have that one call a week with your team. You and I have one call a week. We kind of pack everything in there, and then we have one call with our main team. So we're not real big on, especially when you're dealing with time zones. So Loom's just a good little tip for those of you guys that don't use it. It's pretty inexpensive too. May even have a free version. So cool.
I want to answer this one real quick.
Yeah.
How do you pay your VA and deal with the month off they have each year, or is that you pay them for 13 months? So I pay my VA through Wise. That's like the modality. They send me an invoice, and then I pay them for the services every 2 weeks. And then there is no month off. In the Philippines, it's commonplace. My understanding is it's highly suggested by their government, actually, that employers pay a 13th month bonus at the end of the year. And so that's just a regular occurrence where we get into December, roughly around that time, and I just take a month's pay and hand that over to the VA, which works great as an Amazon seller because generally you're having your most profitable season right there in December anyway.
Very cool. Here, last question, then we'll move on. This is off topic a little bit. Is there an option to buy old leads? We've never done that. We've talked about that. So that's an interesting idea. We've got a ton of old data. Taylor, if you had to take a guess, I mean, we've generated, I don't know, 30, 40,000 plus leads over the past couple of years. What percentage of leads do you think, well, we have a bunch of leads that don't even make the list. So we'll talk about that and see if there may be an option for that. But good idea, Kelly. Cool, Grant.
Okay. So expanding the virtual team, this actually happened in January. So we're going to jump ahead a little bit and then jump back. But this just made more sense to be here. So eventually we had to bring the order management or the ordering and purchasing and sourcing into this virtual team. And so this was a time where, I actually had to lay off my cousin Charles, and he had worked with me for, what was it, Taylor, like 8 years, 9 years. I mean, he was there like really close to the beginning. And it sucked. I felt a ton of guilt, but at the end of the day, I had to do what was best for the business so that we could move on and grow. And so I replaced my cousin Charles with another individual from the Philippines, and she became our inventory purchasing manager in January. And so not only does she handle basically ordering the vast majority of our inventory, but she's now, right at this point in her getting hired, we were training her on how to essentially do replans. So go into our sold items in Seller Central, in our reporting inside of Inventory Lab, and pull out the stuff that we can purchase again and sell for a profit. And then, of course, rabbit trailing the stuff that OA Cheddar delivers daily. So this was a big turning point in just how things perform moving forward. This is funny. Go break some stuff. I'll just say it that way. this is a term that I actually use with my team legitimately, because when I'm looking at a team member and I'm explaining them something I need them to do, and they're just giving me that like terrified look in their face, like I could tell that they're afraid to even start. I literally will tell them, go break some shit. Like, just go break something. Don't be afraid to take action. Go make a mistake, and then let's work through those problems together. We'll repair whatever you might, because, and I've told them, you're not going to do anything so terribly wrong that the business is going to fall apart overnight. Like, it's not going to happen. You'll make mistakes. We'll identify those. We'll fix them, and then you'll learn from them, and then you'll be an expert as we move forward. So just go break some stuff is what I often tell my team when I'm getting those blank stares of terror. This happened October. I'll move my face a little bit here. This happened in October 31st, 2023. So we're kind of jumping back into 2023. We've kind of been on this mission of putting more inventory into the store with Taylor and my VPO and Charles at this point. And I get this email that actually I had just been on a little mini vacation with my wife, just spending some time together, and we're driving home, and it's like, oh my gosh, we're temporarily suspended. For whatever reason, this email said that I couldn't send anything into FBA, but I was still able to do FBA shipments. It took 10 days. And I can tell you guys, this was a terrifying, it's right before November. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this could not be any worse timing. In fact, I had been suspended before for account health violations a couple years prior, because at that time we just weren't paying enough attention. And that was in the early part of November. So this is like the second time right before peak season Q4, I get suspended. And guys, I was walking around terrified, sick to my stomach, just trying to get through the day, honestly, taking action, of course. And not only was I getting these emails, this was like the first time I think it ever rolled out for the vast majority of sellers, like a huge hit. And, even Jeff Schick, his team was just absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of tickets they were getting around this time. And so guys, I essentially put together my own appeal. And I can't go into great detail on what I did there, but I put together my own appeal. I submitted it. I reached out to seller support on Twitter and, just expressed my concern there. I called account health. I basically took whatever action I thought could get me on somebody's radar, I took. And then I submitted my appeal a few days into it, and then was able to get reinstated, I think somewhere around the 9th or 10th of November. And and by the way, of course, as you guys know, with Section 3s, and maybe it's different now, but I was still selling stuff. Just Amazon was not going to give me my money.
Real quick, Grant, I just want to, as you texted me that day that this happened, and I could tell that you were like, it hit you. Anybody that gets this, and I'm obviously we're all afraid of getting this email, right? So it hits you hard, like you're human. And what I noticed though is you didn't sit around and wallow, like, and this is one of the keys, I think, and this is not just for how to deal with Section 3, but being an entrepreneur in general, is you felt bad for you felt bad for several days. Like that whole time I was worried about you. I was praying for you. You weren't good, but you took action right away. Like in the middle of that feeling, instead of just shutting down completely and being like, woe is me, I'm a total victim. Screw Jeff Bezos. I'm done with Amazon. And I should notice this was not the first time you've been suspended either. This was the second. You've been suspended before. So,
right.
I'm bringing this up because I know this is probably the greatest fear in our industry. We all think about it, and you guys don't have to be afraid of it. Like, you've got to go about your life. And this is just the key that I noticed from you and I picked up is you felt bad, but in the middle of that feeling, you got up right away, and you and Taylor were right away working on it. You didn't wait to be perfect. This whole go break some shit stuff. Okay. We're just going to keep it 100 with you guys today. You didn't wait to get I'm sure you got a hold of Jeff Schick pretty quickly. But you started writing your own appeal letter. You didn't wait. So that's right. Just key. And I just want to highlight that because it applies to this and to everything, guys. If you get a cease and desist letter, there's all these little things that can attack us. Feel bad about it, sure, but don't be a victim. Be a victor, because you're the only one responsible for results, and just take action. So I just want to share that because a lot of people don't see that part of you.
Right. No, and at the end of the day, I mean, Amazon's doing what they have to do to protect the market, their marketplace, and protect Amazon customers. And so my whole perspective was, and by the way, I was like on X, reading what other people were saying. So I was gathering intel on what other people were saying needed to be done to appeal. And it did help that I wasn't the only one. I will say I got a little bit of, there was a little comfort in knowing that I wasn't the only good seller that had this happen right at that same time. But you got to show chain of custody, right? You got to show that you bought it from a legitimate supplier, which is key. That it was shipped to your prep center, that your prep center shipped it into Amazon for you, and all of that stuff makes sense. I mean, I even shared credit card statements so they could see, like I showed them, like this is the order right there. Like, how would I have this on my Amex statement if I wasn't the one that placed this order? So it was crazy, and we got through it. So thank God for that. Account health offense, I'll rip through this. This is just some things that we do internally to protect our account. We try to avoid things that are gun related. And that's only because I've heard of horror stories of someone be selling pellet gun bullets or something, little pellets, and they get their account suspended because it says guns in the listing. So we avoid that. We avoid anything that's like medical devices, like significant like medical devices or materials. That's more recent because I got a policy violation, and I'm like, ooh, let's just avoid these types of products. So it doesn't mean those things won't slip through the cracks. Trusted sources, only buy from reputable retailers. Scam sites will often have a bad address, they'll have poor reviews, or they'll have little to zero online presence. You got to do your own due diligence there, as always. Always have an invoice or chain of custody. Don't delete your emails, obviously, stuff like that. A big one here is a 2-strike rule, just how to kind of prevent IP claims from coming in. And they do. It's not like we are perfect, but this is just a 2-strike rule. So if any two of these 4 scenarios happen, and sometimes even if it's just one of these scenarios happens, we're probably going to avoid the product altogether. But if IP Alert or ASIN shows us that there's been claims in the past, that's probably the least important for me out of the 3 of these. Otherwise, I'm looking at, is the brand a seller? Probably going to avoid the listing altogether if the brand is a seller, unless like maybe there's a long history of a bunch of other people selling it, and I can tell that they're doing OA. Offer count cliffhanger. So if you're looking at consistently around 30 offers, then all of a sudden it's down to 1 offer or 4 offers or 3 offers, and there's just this big offer count cliffhanger. I'm going to investigate further. The team's going to investigate further. We try to, by the way, just prevent from putting these things on OA Cheddar altogether, because we know that they're not things we would want to buy. Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, and some of these things might go into the list. You got to do your own due diligence. Brand is not listed correctly, i.e. generic. We all know what happened with generic listings, or listings that had generic as the brand, but there's other brand listing things, issues as well that we'll try to avoid as well. So if it's not listed correctly, we'll avoid there. Okay. Account health defense, guys, this is how I appeal claims personally. Sometimes, first of all, I want to point out, like, always have an attorney on retainer. It's been extremely helpful for me. I want to shout out to Leah Modlin, who works with Jeff Schick. She saved my bacon just recently with some policy violations that came through. She came through and educated me and Taylor, specifically Taylor. Right before I went on vacation, I had a banner. I'm just going to tell you, I had a banner over my account health saying, and I'm working with a 550 account health, normally 650 or higher. And so I got a good account health. I got account health assurance, and it's like, you're about to be suspended if you don't figure out these like 25, product policy violations that we just dumped on your account. And by the way, they're completely illegitimate. So I'm like, this is crazy. Like, these products don't even have these ingredients at all. None of them do. But she came in and showed us how to work through that and clean it all up. And thanks to Taylor, by the way, because I was on vacation. I'm like driving to Oregon thinking, man, I was so excited for this vacation until right now. And then Taylor calls me. He's like, I'm going to get on the call with Leah again with Jeff. She's with Jeff Schick, and we're going to work through this. She knows what to do. And so love you, Leah. Like, seriously, you're the best. So here's what I do though. So the proof of authenticity. So I'm trying to show chain of custody. So I will have a proof of authenticity doc sometimes where I actually line out, like, this is what I'm sending you. And then I'll have my invoice or order details page, or basically the order confirmation from Amazon, the shipping confirmation, or from in my email, the shipping confirmation email, the delivery confirmation email, the logistics tracking details, and even the FBA shipments. So I'm trying to show them I bought it from this source. It's in my email account. It was delivered to my prep center, and I'll spell that out in my proof of authenticity document. It went to my prep center, and you can see that my prep center address is on the FBA shipment record inside of Seller Central. And so I'll show them that. But that has the product that sometimes it's a bunch of documents. It's like 10, right? Because there's multiple FBA shipments and stuff like that. But that's just kind of roughly what I do if I'm appealing myself. And if I am not having success, I'll reach out to Jeff Schick's team. All right, 2023 results. Amazon sales in 2023 ended at 1.5 million. This was the best year that we ever had. In December of 2023, we hit the $200,000 30-day run or 1 month mark. However, this was in December, and if you remember, my goal was to do this outside of Q4, and so it was cool. It was the first 200K month, but it wasn't the actual goal. So here's what our current virtual team looks like as of right now. You can see I've got my VP of operations, and she works directly with the inventory purchasing manager. Of course, Taylor's obviously working with inventory purchasing manager. He's putting together the buy list, and he's also running some orders that the Filipinos aren't able to actually get through on their end. And then we also have an inventory purchasing and reconciling assistant. She's part-time, so she's working with the inventory purchasing manager and with my VP of operations. But mainly right now, her and this is the MA, final one on the bottom right, she's mainly now kind of helping with the inventory purchasing. And then up above, I have operations assistant. And so what JM is doing is she is essentially duplicating my VP operations role. So what I've told my VP of operations is we need someone on this team that knows how to do everything that you do, works with you. Maybe you guys divide up the roles, but she needs to have an understanding of basically how to take over your role when you're gone, right? I need her to be able to go on vacations. I need her to be able to have sick days. Or if some worst case scenario, she finds a better opportunity and leaves the company, I need to have a backup plan. So now I'm essentially building out my layer 2 team so that we're not vulnerable to losing a vital member of the team, either temporarily or permanently. So that's what that looks like. You can see the VP of operations around 45 hours, operations assistant, she's working towards 40 hours. Taylor's doing very part-time. Taylor, is that accurate? 10 to 15 hours a week, putting together the buy list and placing a handful of orders. Inventory purchasing is that's another reason why we're working with bringing in more for inventory purchasing, is for her to keep up with my spend goals. She's having to work overtime every week, and I want to be able to, give her some of her time back. So how do we 2x sales? And go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, I just want to comment on this because this is so good, by the way. Thank you, Grant, for putting this together. This is reframing. I've worked with entrepreneurs for over a decade on different things, and I've noticed we all get, we start as entrepreneurs, and I think someone said it on the call earlier. I forget who it was. Like, I'm brand new. I don't have a VA. And we all start that way. We all start with one. Ask Leah. It's one person. We're in there. We're researching product leads, placing orders, reconciling, shipping. We do everything, right? That's how it starts. But in order to scale a business, you've got to transition from working in your business as the employee to working on your business. Okay. And there's a great book I highly recommend called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. We haven't mentioned this for many years, but it's a great. It's like my number 2 recommendation. So The E-Myth, go buy that book. Even while we're on the webinar right now, go buy it on Amazon, put it in your cart. But the key here, Grant, that you did, and I think this is important to highlight, you've got to slow down to go fast sometimes. Right. And you had to slow down and kind of take a step back. There's your business probably took a hit, I'm guessing, while you were on calls, training. There's a lot of work that goes into hiring someone, and we recommend doing one at a time. If you get one VA, start like Grant did. This is a process, but don't be afraid to back away from your business for a month or two and get out of the operations, and don't be afraid to let go of control. I think a lot of people are afraid to surrender control over the business. Right. And don't be afraid to have your team break things. That's all part of the process. And so you do that and you step away, and then you start stacking on the systems, and then you transition from being a solo entrepreneur to a business owner. And when I say business owner, what I'm talking about is specifically the person who builds the system. Like that's your job, that's ultimately your job as an entrepreneur, is to build the system, right? That's what we did with OA Cheddar. Like Grant and I aren't in the weeds doing lead gen every day. We've hired people and we've built systems so that the machine can run independent of you. So I just want to highlight, this is great, like just business training, Grant, and in general, besides like having an Amazon store. But I want to highlight that because it's a messy process and there's no easy way to do that. But it's so worth it. And what Grant's going to talk about, the results, once you get through that, that's where the freedom comes from. And I know Ed Dassey, and there's a lot of you that are on this call that have got several VAs and you're in that process. So anyways, great stuff, Grant. I just want to edify that.
For sure. Thank you. Well, and I'll say too, this has been kind of a combination of getting back in the trenches and building out a team, right? So it's kind of both and. I had to do student mode first. That's where I started. And then eventually it evolved into like, okay, let's start developing a team. I know what I want to do now. I know how I want to get where we're going to go, but I got to have the right people in the right seats to get there. And so that's what this looks like. This is the current team as of today. And we do have plans to expand it. I need probably another full-time purchasing manager, AKA someone to really continue to drill deep into replens, rabbit trailing, variation sourcing, and maybe even bring in essentially rabbit trailing. So how to 2x sales and profit. So double COGS, right? It's like super simple answer here. Like if I want to 2x my revenue, 2x my profit, if I have double the amount of inventory, that's one way to do it. So method one would be to double the order quantity. Now it wouldn't necessarily double the sales because you're essentially not adding more SKUs, but just adding more inventory. And so the idea here was when I put this together, I was remembering a conversation with Taylor. It's like, hey, a lot of times we'll buy 5 of something or 10 of something, but then we go out of stock. We always go out of stock, right? Like that means that there's stock we could have had that we could have sold that is left on the table because we're not ordering higher volume. So this is just simple, right? Instead of buying 2 to 5 units, buy 4 to 10. Instead of reordering, right? Replenning 8 to 10 units, replen 16 to 20. Again, that's very simplistic, right? And I don't think that would necessarily, there's a better method. So method 2 over here, double active ASINs. Again, if 900 active ASINs, it results in $100,000 a month in sales, right? Then 1,800 ASINs active is going to result in $200,000 a month in sales. Okay, this is harder to do, but I would say it's better, right? Still casting that wider net. But again, so kind of we have two ways of looking at this. Go deeper on certain listings, right? But I would say be a little bit more strategic than what I describe in method 1, and then just continue to go even wider, right? That's method 2. And so we did essentially both of these. That's actually a screenshot, a little picture of what my corner of the warehouse looks like at the prep center. I thought I'd throw that in there because it's just fun. And then how do we double active ASINs, right? We're going to do more test orders. We're going to do more replenning. We're going to do more variation sourcing and more rabbit trailing. Again, how do we get to those 4 opportunities? Well, we got to increase our capacity and AKA man hours. And that's where the team comes in. So here is my 7-figure sourcing funnel, guys, right? This is like my best artwork of the year right here. So we got OA Cheddar at the top of the funnel. Of course, that's how we operate. Over on the left, you got the daily delivered leads, and I'm buying those things and putting them into inventory. We got to, by the way, for the most part, we got, Taylor, what would you say? Got to 120, 130, 140, 150K a month in sales, basically just being simpletons and buying right off of the list, right? And we're still turning inventory profitably. It's not, our margins may not be good as some, but we just kept it simple for quite a while before we had the team.
Yeah, we started going out. I mean, our method of sourcing went from, okay, let's just try to buy the best of the best stuff on the list today. And we really started spreading it out. Hey, let's buy a little bit of everything. Unless we have certain restrictions, our prep center doesn't want glass. They don't want, certain types of products in oversized. So we still have to work within certain rules there. But for the most part, it's, hey, if you see something, if it looks like it might be a little bit of a slow seller, buy a handful of units of it. Because what we were finding is when we looked at a Keepa graph and what we thought was, hey, maybe this is 10, 15 sales per month. Once we got into the store, once it was live, we were selling way more than we would have estimated because where are we located? What is our feedback score? Where is the product in relation to the customer? Having more inventory, does definitely helps out with that. And so we were learning a whole bunch from actually buying the product and test buying than we were just assuming based off of Keepa, whether it's a winner or a loser. And then, of course, when you get those winners, you just replenish it, funnel it right back in, and just repeat that process until you can't do it anymore.
I'm glad you brought that up. I had forgotten about that fact. That's like Keepa gives us a picture, an idea of velocity, but you really don't know velocity until you put it in your store and test it out. And so broadening out like what we were putting in the store for the first time and testing out is definitely a factor. The leads that are delivered daily leads to variation sourcing. So if OA Cheddar only delivers what they believe is the best two available variations of any listing that has variations. So whether that's shoes or clothing or makeup products, they're only allowed to pick the top two variations, but that doesn't mean there's not a bunch more. And so this is something we've really nailed down into more recently. And I'm actually seeing certain shoes, for example, recently as I'm checking products into the repricer, and instead of having 2 or 3 variations, I might have like 7 or 8. And so what I told them is like, imagine this, guys. If I would buy 5 of each variation, 2 variations, okay, one of our options is to buy 2 of 5 variations. We've now over doubled the amount of listings that we could capture sales on. We've now doubled the size of the net just on that listing. Right? Or you could buy 5 of 5 variations, whatever you want to do. But point being is you could take the same budget and spread it out. And we still do the wide and shallow model over here, right? We do go deeper on winners, and we're being better at replenning the winners. But again, we like casting that wide net when the deals are good. And so variation sourcing, and then of course rabbit trailing, right? The daily delivered leads are telling us about sales and promos and opportunities and brands and categories of product that we should be rabbit trailing to find more stuff. And now that we have the manpower, we're starting to do more and more of that. All of that funnels into inventory, and then out comes revenue, and of course replens, and then the replens get dumped back into the top of the funnel, and the process is repeated. Okay, so profitable replens only. This is another thing that I dove into recently, probably, 4 or 5 months ago. I finally took a look at, I've had this conversation with a handful of different sellers and stuff, and I've normally just kind of ignored like the high return rate because it just wasn't on my radar. I was focused on other things in my businesses all up until recently. I jumped into the inventory dashboard, and I saw that Amazon has this nice little feature where they're reporting like the refund return rate. And I'm like, okay, let me go dig into this. Let's see how many of these SKUs I've replened and we're losing money on. And I found a few. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we've bought in this pair of shoes 3 times and we're totally losing money because of the amount of returns on it. And so I went and created some Loom videos, had all the girls get on the call with me a couple days later, and I taught them how to essentially. Well, actually, I first did this with my VPO. We sat down and ripped through all of the reporting inside of Inventory Lab to determine if we look at these reports, are they accurate? Does it take into account all of the returns and factor in those expenses? And through about an hour of kind of double checking and running calculator, we're like, yeah, it looks pretty accurate. I think we can rely on this information. And so what I'll have the team do is if they're going to replen and if they find a profitable ASIN or ASIN that they think meets our standards, but we've purchased it before, they're going to jump into Inventory Lab, go to FBA inventory, and they're going to grab the buy cost. You can see the buy cost on this particular item is $12.19. Then they're going to go to Inventory Lab reports ASIN profitability, and they're going to search the ASIN. And once they pull that up, it's going to look like this. You can see this came from Fanatics. We sold 10. We only ever purchased 10 and sold 10, but there's actually 15 orders. Okay, 6 refunds. So somebody ordered 2, and so on. So if they're looking at this and they see that it's a minimal to negative profit, if you look over here on the right, and I wish I would have highlighted it, but it says profit on the 10 units that we sold, $50.76. But if they're looking at that and it's minimal to negative profit, they're either just going to completely pass on it and move to the next potential replan, or they're going to investigate further. Why did we not make a good profit? Is there something else that went on here? Was Grant trying to push this out? What happened? When did we sell it? Is this recent? Has something changed? Right? There's other things. So they're either going to pass on it in most cases, or they might investigate if it's something they think still might be good, worth purchasing. If it has notable profit, they're going to investigate. And what that means is they're going to take the profit and they're going to divide that by the number of units that we purchased. Does it meet our profit standards? In this case, you would take the 10 units we sold despite the returns, and there's still a $50 profit. Now, I could tell you that selling that item probably has like a $9 or a $10 profit, right? But after the returns, right, and paying those fees, we landed with a $50 profit. So despite it having a 40% return rate, right, or refund rate, we might still want to purchase this because we're making $5 a hat right now. And that's still, $5 on a $12 buy cost. Okay. So something to consider. Buying profitable replans, not the replans that we might be losing money on because of high return rate. Healthy cost of goods. Okay. We're going to get into like some stuff. Okay. So this is year to date 2024. And what we're going to look at is essentially how to know you have healthy cost of goods sold. Okay. So cost of goods sold is your number one controller in the profitability and performance of your store. And so if for me, my cost of goods sold goal, right? My goal there is to have a max of 52% of sales. So I want my cost of goods sold to be no more than 52% of my overall sales. Now I heard this talked about by a guy who does bookkeeping, and I hope I'm at least it stuck in my brain that he said that a healthy account usually will have a really healthy account will have at least 52% cost of goods sold. But if it gets much higher than that, then that's dipping into a minimum of a 10% profit margin. Okay, after Amazon fees. And so that's just the way I look at it. So net profit, my net profit goal is also 10%. And what I found is there is a direct relationship between my goal of a 52% cost of goods and a 10% net profit for a total of 62%. That 10% can be divided up roughly. This is just me throwing out some math. 5% or half can go to overhead, and the other half can go for salary, company profit reinvesting. 2024 cost of goods sold versus profit stat. So this is what this would look like in my account. You take the 834,000 cost of goods and divide that by the total number of sales. It's at 54%. So I'm missing my goal by 2%. Okay. Part of that is scaling. Part of that is moving inventory fast because I don't have the best capital, the best debt capital. Some of it's like I'm using a lot on Amex, and so I got to turn it quickly. And then I've got 136,000 divided by the 1.5. So the profit divided by the sales is 8.87%. So essentially just over 8% or just below 9. So my goal is to try to reduce my cost of goods sold, right? So that my profit goes up, right? It's pretty simple. If I start to see 52% cost of goods sold, I'm probably going to start hitting 10.5% net profit after Amazon fees. This is just after Amazon fees before overhead. Does your cost of goods sold include prep center costs, inbound shipping, and placement fees? No, none of that stuff. Oh, well, it does. Hold on, go back to that. Yeah, I believe it's the inbound shipping and placement fees in this report. It's all coming out of there. The only thing it's not including is like my team, my software expenses, my prep center, and of course my salary. So this is strictly like what is spit out from Amazon, right? In terms of profit, right? Before any overhead, after all Amazon related expenses. And I've actually gone through and taken my payments, added up all my payments. And it equals basically my payments from Amazon is very closely related to my cost of goods sold and my profit on this report. It's basically like the same number if I take it over a span of several months. Okay, cost of goods sold versus spend. Okay, so this is again just simple math, guys. If I'm looking at my store and going, okay, if I want to create double the results, when I'm looking at my store in September of 2023, at $130,000 in sales, right, I have a 69.5% cost of goods sold. So if I want to double from $130,000 in sales to $260,000 in sales, then 140 cost of goods sold, right? 140,000 cost of goods sold should result in double the sales. It's simple, right? Double the inventory, double the revenue, double the profit, assuming not a lot changes. Everything's relative. Inventory spend. And the nice thing about this, by the way, you guys, is like, well, I won't get into that because it's okay. Inventory spend goal. So this became my inventory spend goal. I wanted to buy $140,000 worth of inventory every 4 weeks. Divide that by 4 weeks, it's $35K a week. Or you could say $7K per day if you're working a 5-day work week. And this is when we started measuring KPIs. Actually, several months prior to this, this is a screenshot from my KPI sheet. And I know a lot of sellers, and I agree with this. They say, you shouldn't have like a daily budget goal because then your team is focused on the wrong results. And I agree with that to a certain degree. We're in a rhythm now of we buy every day and we have a lot of lead flow. We buy more when the deals are really good, right? So we'll buy more when the deals are really good and we'll buy less when they're not so good. So we basically do follow that trend, but overall, I do have a set budget. I want to spend this much on inventory so that we can create this result on the Amazon account. Once I create that result, knowing that it will be profitable, then I can start pulling levers, right? What can we do? For example, let's not replen, stuff that has a high return rate that doesn't result in a profit, right? Let's kick that stuff out. Let's take advantage when we see a really good sale. Let's dive in and rabbit trail the snot out of it. I could do that once I got to the volume and had the team. Now I can start pulling little levers. So you can see here that 4-week period, we spent $171,000. You can see just from the records that not every order goes through. We have cancellations, so it's going to be less. But if you grab any of these 4 weeks in the last few months here, it's essentially about $150,000 to $170,000 in spend. So meeting the goal, and it's resulting. So several months later, we're doing all of this stuff, right? Several months later, we hit a real life double, right? It took, I think, we were looking at September earlier. So now it's July, right, of the following year, 2024. And we do $260,000. So this has just happened. This was last month, $260,000 in sales. Still working with that 54% cost of goods sold and that 8% net profit after Amazon fees. So $21,000 spit out from Amazon during the month of July for me to go and pay for the team, pay for the prep center, and pay for myself. And then we'll dig into some other stuff here. So how do we increase profitability, right? Cost of goods sold is your number one controller. So figure out how to lower your cost of goods sold. Okay, so this is going to come out externally. So internally, we can buy better. We can raise our standards. We can require higher net profit, higher ROI, lower BSR. That can be hard to do for me, at least at scale, because for us, we wanted to open ourselves up to more opportunities. So we had to kind of change our standards and do some different things. Get better at sourcing, right? You can get better at sourcing. Externally, you can lower your cost, right? So you can lower your cost of labor. I just listened to a podcast on this young gal who's relatively new to selling on Amazon. She's crushing it. And at one point, she brought all of her prep and pack home. And she does it out of her house. And she's probably saving herself $10,000 a month in prep and pack. Like something crazy, right? So you could bring prep home and do that work yourself to save money. You could reduce the number of subscriptions, right, that you're spending money on. You can do whatever you want to do. So you can lower your cost. You can do cash back, right? You can make sure you're getting your cash back, and more importantly, doing cash back claims. This is something that a lot of sellers do that I haven't actually started doing yet. You can do discounted gift cards. You can have efficient liquidation, so you don't have a death pile that's just collecting dust and costing money. Get that stuff liquidated, get that money back in the system. We'll talk all about all of these things here in a second. You can file sales tax reimbursements. I still am shocked about how many sellers just talk about paying sales tax like it's normal. Yeah, pay sales tax, but get that money refunded. That's not the state's money. And I can't speak for every state, but I know that many states will allow you to do sales tax reimbursements. Sourcing standards for us, you guys, we're looking at generally a $5 net profit or above. A 30% ROI minimum, a minimum of 10 sales per month. That's for velocity. High profit bundles or multi-packs because they cost more to prep. A minimum of $13 net profit projection with shoes. And all standards are subjective. So if my team is looking at something that makes a $4 net profit, but it sells 300 times a month, well, we might fudge our standards there and purchase more of that image, right? Cashback. This is what cashback looks like so far for me this year. It's 21,000 from one source, 9,000 from another, for a total of $30,000. Divide that over the last 7.5 months, and it comes to $4,000 per month in cashback. This number continues to grow, right, as we continue to buy more and more inventory. My opportunities with cashback are to do cashback claims, right? So this is a way for me to get more cashback, and I'm sure there's a bunch. I'm pretty sure if we got into a system of how to do this, there's a good amount of money being left on the table. And diversification. I'm using 2 cashback sources. I listened to a call from a 7-figure seller who uses like 8. Okay, because there's better opportunities elsewhere. Not to mention that diversification of cashback sources reduces the amount of that you're leveraging one source and the likelihood that they might suspend you because they suspect you're a reseller. Top cashback and Rakuten. That's what I'm using. Gift cards. So we just started using gift cards in March. Okay, this is like, again, okay, we got the team. I got somebody placing orders. What else can we do to add more money, or save more money in this case to the business? So, by the way, right now, and this will change, I'm probably going to mess with this here in a second. Okay, download Rev ROI extension, know which sites offer the best cashback. Yeah, Rev ROI for sure. Yep. So, and also, I think gift cards too. I can't remember, but I think Rev ROI does gift cards too. Is that right, Leah? So yeah, Rev ROI. I have that actually. I think you guys can't see my screen, but it's an extension that I just don't use. Retail Me Not's another resource for good deals and stuff like that. Capital One shopping app is another one. So yeah, okay. So gift cards, guys, something I avoided because I did gift cards pretty heavily when I was doing retail arbitrage, because shoot, you could save like 10% with Marshalls and TJ Maxx, like huge savings, right? It was significant. And so I kind of just ignored it with OA, partly because we didn't have the capacity, right? It was me, Taylor, and Charles. And it just was another thing we didn't have time to deal with. Well, now that we have the team, all right, we're gonna push into using discounted gift cards. So since March of 21, through August of 16, we've bought 521 gift cards. We have bought, so 266 of those gift cards are from our top 2 retailers. We've bought gift cards now for a total of 29 different retailers. We've spent over $100,000, and the value of those cards has earned us about $5,249 in savings. Now, when I put right now, this will probably change in the future, but right now, when we put our cost of goods or our buy cost into our orders records before it gets shipped into Amazon and stuff, we're not factoring in what money we saved on the gift card. So essentially, I got to figure that out, how I'm going to do that with accounting and stuff. But basically, gift cards is not like my cost of goods sold is not reflecting the money we saved on gift cards. But the point being is we've saved on average a little over $1,000. My opportunities with gift cards is consistency, being more consistent, right? Because oftentimes I jump into there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to order more gift cards, right? They've used them all. And then buying in bulk. Shout out to Arbitrage Card. That's a great source for bulk buying gift cards. Cardbear.com, you guys, is essentially a search engine. So you could search, Nike, and it's going to show you here's where all the gift cards are, and here's where you can get the best deals. I don't necessarily buy gift cards from Cardbear. I haven't done that yet. Most of the gift cards that I purchase have been from GCX or what used to be Raise and Top Cashback.
I would want to step out and just let you guys know if you are using Cardbear and you find a card is out of stock, still go and check these other websites. We've found discrepancies where Cardbear says it's out of stock, but GCX does have cards in stock. So, Cardbear is super helpful, but don't just, trust that the item is actually out of stock. It could very well be in stock.
Yeah. And in a lot of cases now, we're just going straight to GCX or Top Cashback and grabbing what we want because we've kind of tinkered with it enough to go, okay, this is where we should focus our energy with discounted gift cards. Gift card retailers. Here's a list. Take a picture with your phone. I'll hang out here. But these are all the retailers that we've bought gift cards for. In no particular order or actually in alphabetical order. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, liquidation. Here's what it looks like for us. So over here in the yellow, FBA removal orders. Essentially, anything that's going to get liquidated has pretty much been shipped into FBA. And then it's going to go into the eBay prep center. They're going to list it into the eBay store, or if it's not eBay worthy, it's going to go into a big old pile, which I just recently got a big delivery of, a bunch of stuff that I'm going to yard sale because it's cheaper. I could spend an afternoon, throw a bunch of crap out on a pile on tables and make $1,000, and it's easy stuff. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to let you donate that or throw it away. It's $1,000 worth of crap. Like, I'll put it out in my driveway and sell it. So I've got so if it doesn't go on eBay, it goes into the yard sale. And it's important to note that entered at zero cost of goods and all revenue is treated as additional income. So anything that gets sold through eBay or goes into the yard sale pile, the cost of goods sold has already been accounted for in inventory lab and in the inventory lab P&Ls, right? So when it goes, anything that comes from the eBay store has a zero cost of goods sold attached to it. Anything that gets sold to the yard sale has a zero cost of goods sold, right? Because it's already been accounted for. So IL, inventory disposition management, and then you mark it as sellable or unsellable. And that's how you can make sure that you're attributing for the cost of goods sold for stuff that you're not going to sell on Amazon. And so the cost of goods sold is deducted from the inventory P&L. So the way I look at eBay is if I make $800, which is about average per month on just stuff that we're liquidating over there, if I make $800 after fees, that's just extra income, right? Because the cost of goods sold has already been deducted from my inventory lab reporting. And yard sales, we usually give it away, or like the money we'll give to the church or something, or it's play money. So back to the real life double. Let's add in the cash back, the gift cards, and the eBay, right? The average of what we earn. The total gross that I'm working with in July is $27,231. Then I can pay for my prep center. I can pay for my VAs. I can pay for my software subscriptions. I can pay for my debt payments, and then profit. So a closer look. Repricer, my objective with my repricer is to keep the competition below my min price less than 40%. Okay, so if I've got 1,000 active listings, I want less than 400 of those where competition is currently below my minimum. Okay, my minimum price. My minimum price might be anywhere from $1 net profit, $2 net profit, $13 net profit. That's the minimum I want to take on that product. I want to make for me to have the right velocity in my store. At least 60% of my listings need to be low price or buy box eligible, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Okay. This gives you an idea of the buy box rotation or percentage that I'm getting in my store for the year so far. We're averaging 12%. But starting in more recent months, it's jumped up a little bit with me just kind of tinkering. Okay, so repricer strategies. I've got 5 primary strategies that I mess around with currently. I'm always kind of throwing a new strategy in to see if I can do something different with it. And I'll come in here and manipulate these all the time. So we're looking at the Funko tumbler. This is stuff that generally has a higher prep cost because tumblers.
I think you froze, Taylor. It's closed.
So I'm looking for generally like a $5 or better.
Hey, Grant.
Profit. Yeah.
Can you go back and just repeat this slide? You froze up there for a second. Go back about 30 seconds. Uh-oh.
How about now?
All right. Now we're back. Okay. Go ahead and just start from the next slide, the beginning of the next slide.
Okay. Let me know, jump out and let me know if something goes wrong. And I'm going to make sure I've got my phone right here so you can text me if. Okay. All right. We're back on. Okay. So Funko, that particular, so I'll just start over, I guess, because I don't know what you guys heard. So I've got 5 strategies that I generally work with. These are the 5 strategies. I will manipulate these strategies all the time. I will test out other strategies. I'm kind of always changing and playing around with my repricer. And I use Inform.co, guys. I've been using the OG software for a long time and just need to maybe consider experimenting elsewhere. But this is what I do. I keep it simple. So the Funko tumblers, they generally cost more to prep and pack. So I'm looking at a $5 minimum net profit on those or better. And again, I will come in and adjust those. I use their AI repricer. So when the demand or customers purchasing like basically late at night, it'll raise my price closer to my max price to try to bring up competition. So I was constantly trying to do that. That's what that Smart Max thing is there. Shoes, bottom dollar, generally, like I might bring this down to $8. I don't like doing that, but if I need to get the volume to keep coming in because I got to service, unfortunately, these Amex cards, then I will lower my net profit for shoes temporarily to like $8. During this particular time, it was $8. But a lot of times I'm sitting at $10 or $12 and trying to capture as much as I can in terms of profit for shoes. And the reason why is because shoes cost more to prep too, and they also have that higher return rate. So FBM below, that's my FBM strategy there. I manually set all of the prices there. And then I got the this is like what I use most of my inventory on is this $2.25 min below. So Smart Max. So basically what I'm doing there is, and I'll play with this all the time. So I might bring this all the way down to like $1 minimum profit to try to get velocity going. And then I'll come back in a couple days later. I might move it up to $3 minimum net profit. So I'm just constantly kind of tinkering with these to try to keep my goal. And then I've got the used books. Again, this is like a brand new thing for me, but it's been interesting to play with that. And so that's just something else. We'll get into the weeds there. Okay, so inventory turnover or velocity, my objective here, and I'll explain this, is to turn 70% of my inventory sales value every 30 days. I thought it was funny that like Amazon's my number one supplier in terms of quantity. Apparently I've bought in a lot of Amazon stuff, and that really is like the books. Because all of the books I've been purchasing, the used books that I'm tinkering with the seasonal book strategy is coming from Amazon directly. And so that's what you're seeing there. And then some of my Amazon to Amazon flips that I find on Keep It deals, I will list a merchant fulfill because they're just large items and I don't want to ship them into FBA. And so I like playing with the larger items. So I have a good little stash of Amazon flips at home here right now as well. But what you're looking at, guys, is essentially I'm going to take my sales, right? So I put 257 because I forgot to update this image, but at the end of this day, it was actually 257,000 in sales. And that's kind of where I've been running right around 260K in a 30-day run. I take that and I divide that by the total value of my inventory sales. And right now you can see that would be 71%. So that to me is, for at least in my business, that's a healthy turn. That's a fast enough turn on inventory to where I feel like I'm not, like things aren't getting too stagnant. And when I'm in December, I'm generally going to be bumping up closer to that 100% turn rate. So if I had everything being equal, I had $360,000 in inventory sales value in the middle of December or like beginning of December. At some point during that peak season, I'm probably going to have about that much in sales. So this is pretty predictable. Like if nothing changes, I'm probably going to do $300,000 to $350,000 in sales in December, right? Okay. So sourcing, so software and services, guys, you can just take a picture of this. Most of you know what this is. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but there you have it. That's what we use for sourcing. That's what we use for our shipping. The team, we manage documents in Google Drive, LastPass for all of our passwords, for payments, for addresses. All of our OA accounts get saved to LastPass, and that's how the team accesses those things. Obviously, if a Filipino is going to place orders for you, they need to know your credit card information. That was a big move. That was a big opportunity. That was a big decision for me because I really held on to I'm afraid of letting that go. But thank God I've got people I can trust. Oh, and all of our work is recorded in Screenshot Monitor. I know this is a debate in the outsourcing space. Do you track your team's work, or do you let them just bill you for whatever they want to bill you for? Personally, I just think it's healthy to have some level of accountability. If we were all working in the office together and you were standing by the watering hole all day, drinking coffee and chatting it up with your friends, I would probably have a problem with that. So I think it's important to do some level of tracking, especially if it's hourly work. And maybe in 2-3 years I will take that off. But to me, I never really check it. But if I'm suspicious, that's when I'll go check it. So it's not micromanaging, it's accountability, in my opinion. So my top 12 categories, literally right out of Inventory Lab in order of revenue in the last 12 months. So percentage of revenue in the last 12 months, this is what it looks like. This is there's a total of 67 categories that we've sold in the last 6 months. And you can see that, what have I got here? So yeah, 82% of all of the sales we do are in these top 12 categories. So there you have it. You guys can see we're heavy in clothing and shoes. We're heavy in beauty and personal care. Yeah. And of course, that's like the top 6 categories right there: sports and outdoors, toys, all that good stuff. Okay. I was going to share this on this call, but if you guys want to know exactly where we're, the top 12 suppliers, where I'm actually sourcing and spending the most of our budget, I'm going to reserve that for people inside of Cheddar Black. It's just something I decided this morning. Felt like that was fair. This is sort of a little bit more proprietary to us. 45% of total revenue is in my top 12 suppliers, and the remaining 55% is spread throughout 828 other suppliers. Now I'll preface this. There's duplicates. Like I'll have like Nike and Nike.com. And sometimes the prep centers, I haven't gone through and cleaned all that up. So maybe there's 500 to 600 different sources, right? Not 800. What percentage of your orders are canceled? Because we're avoiding certain suppliers that tend to cancel orders. Taylor, I'm going to let you answer that. You have more of a pulse on. That's a good question.
Yeah. So we don't track the exact percentage of our orders are getting canceled, just because we don't have the time to do that extra work to figure out that number. But what I will say is that we have learned to work within the supplier's rules. So, through trial and error, some suppliers will say, hey, you can't order more than 8 of any SKU, even though they give you the ability to add more than that number into your cart, but your orders will get canceled. So getting on the phone with customer service, if you are getting orders canceled, call them. Most of the time, it's probably a fraud issue. Most of the time, they want to verify that you are who you are, you're a real person, validate your mailing address, and then you're good to go. Or you might find that they don't like your shipping address, maybe because it's part of a list of restricted shipping addresses because it's a prep center. Right. So now okay, hey, if I'm going to order that, I need to send it to a different prep center or to my house specifically. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's not a matter of, okay, let's track how many orders we get canceled or the percentage. It's if there is a cancellation happening from a supplier that we know we want to continue to order from, let's reach out. Like example, right now, academy.com, they've had us, blocked for a while now. And I'm working with them. I'm escalating issues. I'm trying gift cards. So I'm not just, we're taking action to actually get approvals and to get through on these suppliers. And I think that's the most important thing that you as a seller can be doing is actually try to get unblocked. Don't just take a block and say, well, I can never buy from that source ever again. Make the calls, do a little bit of digging. A lot of times it's just because of fraud.
Yep. Yeah. I listened to a podcast recently from a seller that does, my estimation based on what he was talking about, is like $1 million in OA a month, maybe more, right? This guy does like 26 million. You guys can go listen to it actually on the Clear the Shelf podcast. I love that podcast, by the way. And this guy does at least $1 million a month. And he was saying, he's like, it's so rare that a merchant doesn't want your money. It's so rare. He's like, most of the time they're just afraid that you're doing something fraudulent. And so you got to get on the phone and you got to get on the phone with the right person. And that's the key. And that's going to go through, in persisting, right? You're probably not going to get on the phone with the right person. I mean, you might, but you're probably not the first time you call. So like Taylor said, you've got to escalate. You got to work up the chain and try to find the right person who can look at your account and fix the problem.
Mm-hmm. I want to just answer this question too, because it's related. When you call customer support, do you say that the items are for resale? If asked, try not to. Okay, try not to give that information up right away. I will say I've been on a call with a supplier. They asked me if I was a reseller. I told them I was, and they actually had a reseller program, and I think they actually mentioned it like, hey, if you're reselling, you could join our reseller program. Cool. Now we're part of that reseller program. We have a team of reps that if we have any issues, we can contact, and I can buy a ton from the supplier. So, make sure you do the call, don't give up. Don't be like, hey, I'm an Amazon seller trying to resell your stuff. Just say, hey, I'm trying to place this order. It's getting canceled. I don't know what's going on. Can you help me out? A lot of times they might say, maybe your credit card's bad. You tell them, hey, I've tried this multiple times with different cards. I've already called my bank, and then just ask to escalate. And eventually they will get you to somebody, hopefully. And yeah.
Taylor, keep going. I just want to make sure you don't jump off right away.
Well, I would also say that, I don't do this very often, but I have had, if like a supplier asks, hey, why are you ordering 15 of these lotions? Right. I love, you can make up some, I have Airbnbs that I'm stocking, or I'm, you can fudge, right? I don't think it's the best thing to lie, but if you want to like have a couple of like reasons in your head. Also, when I get a call from a supplier who's calling about an order, okay, one of my favorite moves, and this is something I learned because I got the call and I wasn't expecting it. Oh, hey, can you give me a moment? I'm in a meeting. Let me just step out, put you on hold, quickly search up, okay, what is the supplier? What are the orders that they're calling about? Make sure I have all the information. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, thanks for holding. What can I help you out with?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
yeah, Taylor, let's talk real quick. Let's mention, I mean, we're blocked from certain suppliers that we either haven't persisted enough or we're not going to get unblocked from. Like we can't do GameStop. We can't do Ulta. We can't do Academy. And Taylor, you'll take a whack at it every once in a while.
Every once in a while, I'll still take a whack at it. Like Ulta, for example, they blocked us from purchasing online. And it wasn't because they didn't want our money. It's because we created a bunch of different, phony accounts with different emails trying to get around this blocking or to purchase more. And they didn't like that. They said, hey, we identified you have multiple accounts, multiple emails, multiple addresses, all the same people. So they say, you can buy from our stores. You're more than welcome to, but you are never going to be able to buy online, and it's just their rules. So that should be also a warning too. Don't try to I'm not going to say the word because I'm going to mess it up, but don't try to get around their block by creating multiple accounts. Make the call first, okay? Act like a normal customer would. A normal customer wouldn't get, an order canceled and then next, create a bunch of, fake email accounts. They would pick up the phone and say, hey, why aren't you guys taking my money? Right. And then, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we have a list of suppliers that have blocked us. GameStop won't ship to our address, to our prep center's address. And, we just prosper where we're planted. We can't do anything about that, but what we can do is we can focus on where we can order from and then hone in on those places.
Mm-hmm. You guys can see on this KPI doc or screenshot, we don't record the cleared spend because we got to wait until enough time has passed to go back and make sure it's what's cleared and what's not. But you can see because we're either pretty good at avoiding. I mean, we know what stores we can't order from. That's one thing. Obviously, we're not going to keep going to the same store and just beating our head against that wall if they're going to cancel us. But the other thing would be that we understand. Okay, this supplier doesn't like it if we place more than 2 orders a day, or they don't like it if we hit the order limit. We got to stay below the order limit. So we're using learning all of that from trial and error. You can see there a relatively small margin of what we're ordering is getting canceled, and it goes in waves. We'll have recently we were getting a lot of Vitacost. I think it was the Vitacost, Taylor. A bunch of cancel. I think it was Vitacost or something, Vitamin World, whatever. We were ordering from some health thing or whatever, and we're getting a lot of cancellations. Well, we can kind of look at the trend. We tried to place 5 orders in a single day. We shouldn't have done that. So we'll probably let that cool down a little bit, and then we'll go back in and start working it again. And so it's just it's all trial and error. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, guys. Break stuff and figure it out later. Okay.
I want to address this, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but this is good. Like Scott brings up, hey, I just got blocked from Target recently. Target is not reseller friendly, but Target will let you, order more than a few quantity of a certain item. What they don't like is if you're taking advantage of their sales. They're buy 2 get 1 free. They have a big sale for toys leading up to Christmas. So when you're working with a promotion from Target, I might only order 4 or 5 units of that and I'm done. Right. I'm not gonna press in on it. But if it's a full price item, I know that Target will let me buy 5, 6, 10, even 10, because they want my money. They just don't want me to take advantage of their loss leader program and do that, which just totally makes sense.
They want your money, but they don't want to lose too much money.
Yep. Good comment here from Scott. Some sites reset after 30 days, pause on a few weeks, try again on a small order, follow it's 100%.
Yeah, and if
Nike's got me blocked right now, right? And Nike does this every once in a while. It's when I use the same promo code over and over again. They don't like it and they start to give me an error. If I wait some time and come back to Nike after that sale has ended or it's changed, a lot of times those orders are going through. Placing orders using an app instead of going through your web browser. And this is something we can do better on. I'm actually going to be trying to do that with Academy. Download the Sources app, right? And purchase through the app, not through your desktop. It should be a different device for, which will help. I'm not super techie, so I don't know if the IP address is changing, but it's just a different form of purchasing, right? Mm-hmm. Switch browsers on the Nike block, Leah says. Thank you, Leah. It's something I also need to get better at is getting away from Chrome and using Safari, Brave, Internet Explorer, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll leave this as the last tip for getting orders through. Fudge around with your address a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. If your address is 123 Easy Street, right? Maybe it needs to be 123 Easy ST, right? Or Easy Avenue. As long as you know that the post office is going to be able to get your package to the right place. Fudging around with that address a little bit, fudging around with your name a little bit to maybe make it look a little different. Because some suppliers will have your email blocked, some suppliers will have your address blocked, some people will have your credit card number blocked. Right? Yep. So you try to get around that, and then at the end of the day, don't sit and wallow in the fact that Target has blocked you from purchasing. Right? That's accept it, and then focus on where you can get orders through, because that's where you're going to see the results. Yes, delete the cookies on the side. These are all good tips.
Thank you for sharing these tips, you guys, by the way. This is really helpful. Let's see. Careful with address fudging and section 3s. Okay. Yep. That's good advice there, right? Don't take it too far. And by the way, and I don't know about section 3s, our billing address is our prep center address. So we find that, and we haven't really had any issues. Like overall, we can get our claims appealed and stuff. I think I've heard it both ways. Some people you got to have your billing address as your business address, but we seem
and then and speaking on that advice that Leah gave too, if you're having inventory sent to your prep center, ask your prep center if they can give you a suite number or some type of identifier that is just for you. So that way, and Leah can speak more to this if you guys reach out to Jeff, but you want to be careful to not have your inventory going to the same address as other sellers. You want to have some distinction between the two. So a suite number or apartment number, that kind of stuff could be super helpful with your orders. But talk to your prep center.
This is really interesting. I've never heard this one before. Request Target or Walmart to erase your account and data and wait 30 days. I would love to hear more about that. That's really interesting. Okay. Let's move on for the sake of time. So 2024 results, we're just about done, you guys. Year to date, 2024, 1.5 million. The first 200K month was December. I already showed you guys that last year. The first 200K month outside of Q4 was April. And then we fell just a little bit below 200K in May, and then June and July, you can see the increase there. July 2024 is our best month in revenue so far, with $264,000 in order product sales. Guys, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be able to teach and add value, and hopefully you guys learned some stuff. Thank you all for contributing and sharing some tips along the way. Gabe, I'm going to hand it over to you, and we'll let it rip.
If you guys are thankful for Grant's teaching on this, can you put in the chat, thanks, Grant's the bomb. Just show him some love on there. I got to give him a ton of credit. He's been working his butt off on these presentations for the last 2 webinars, and just honestly super great stuff. So let him know in the chat if you got some good key takeaways from this call. If you learned anything, just let him know.
Cool. So before we get into, we're going to switch gears a little bit, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yes, thanks to Grant. Great info. Alyssa says this is super helpful stuff. Awesome. Leah says, thank you. Leah, we appreciate you. You're a hero around our neck of the woods. A lot of people look up to you. Michelle, thank you. Therese, Dean, thank you. So awesome, guys. So this is a real question. So this is for you guys. We do this training to serve you. What's been your biggest breakthrough today? And so I'm asking this question for just one takeaway. We just poured a whole year's worth of business building wisdom into this event. Some of you are going to want to watch this later. What's been your biggest breakthrough? What's one thing that you've pulled away from today? I'm going to answer, and I'm asking this question so you guys can synthesize this info. So, Grant, I think the biggest thing that I've pulled away from your story, aside from how you've restructured your team, very simplistically, is you doubled down on what's working. So you doubled down on instead of ordering 4 SKUs of something, you're ordering 8, and you've got experience. You've been doing this. So if you're just starting off, we still recommend going shallow and wide until you learn this skill. But some of you, Leah, Ed, Dassey, some of you guys that are experts that have been around, and when you find a SKU that sells fast, don't just replen 5 of them, maybe replen 10, maybe replen 20. So I like this one, Ed. Ed's biggest takeaway is to break some stuff and learn. That's good, man. Don't be afraid to break some stuff. Let's see what else here. Jean says she got Cheddar Black yesterday, but this is great info. So we're a little ahead of ourselves, but that's awesome. Let's take a couple other here. This is good, Lorna. So thanks, Grant. This was great. It gives me a new hope. And that was part of our intention today, guys, was to inspire you, to not be afraid of getting suspended. It's part of the deal. But just to give you some inspiration before we go into Q4. Alicia, I'm probably mispronouncing your first name. Forgive me. Biggest breakthrough, I feel like I'm over my head. Awesome. First of all, that means you're growing. Yep. And number 2, but I'm just going to go break some stuff. So I love it. Your break stuff slide, Grant, is resonating. Kyle doubled down on my buys to increase sales. Good takeaway, Kyle. Kelly, don't give up. I mean, let's not overlook the little things. Like, this is a game of perseverance. Ask Ed Dassey. Ask Grant, who's been suspended multiple times. So perseverance is key. So very cool. Last one here. Michelle, we are new sellers, so our minds are blown as to what's possible. Good. I mean, here's another thing that we intended for this presentation. If Grant can sell $262,000 in sales and pull in $27K in profit in 1 month, then can you do half that? Could you do 25% of that? Could you crack 100K? Like, these are all, this is the Roger Bannister, the 4-minute mile, right? Like, and Grant's not the end all to be all. Like, there's sellers that do $1 million a month. There's sellers that do in the tens of millions of dollars a year. So very cool. Keep the comments coming, guys. So we're going to here's the second question I have for you. What do you guys think is the number one thing, after all this information we've talked about today, what do you guys think is the number one thing you need to have success in Q4 as an Amazon seller? I want you guys to put your thoughts to this question in here. We'll do this. I'm going to give you about 15 seconds to put your answer in chat here, and then we're going to reveal the answer. What's the one thing you guys think? While you're pulling that up, Jennifer Cook, one of the best presentations I've seen. So there you go, Grant. Hope that makes you feel good. So one answer is time. Yes, that is a key ingredient. Ed's got a little humor, an active account. Sorry, Ed, you've had it. Touche. Capital. Yes, Debbie, that is also true. Consistency. Actually, all these things are true. All these things are true. Here's the one thing that we can help you guys with. I can buy you time by doing some work for you. I can't help you with your capital problem. That's an issue you're going to have to overcome. But here's what we can help you with, okay? We can help you guys with leads. And we can help you not just with a couple of leads, but we can literally shower an avalanche of product leads on you from September 2nd all the way through January. And then what if we just kept giving you leads all year? Would that be interesting for any of you guys? If you could get a year's worth of leads for us. Oh, and by the way, what if we could give you a year's worth of leads? And what if it cost less than one of our normal OA Cheddar subscriptions? Would any of you guys be interested? Okay, just type yes in chat if you'd be interested to having us shove leads at you, deliver leads to you. And this is one of the keys I shared yesterday. I'll share it again today. This is one of the keys. I've noticed I'm a student of success. Like I study, if you want to learn to master something, go find someone who's achieved your results and study them. And one of the things I've learned from all the 7 and 8 figure sellers I've learned, this is one of the keys. None of them chase product leads. All of the 7-figure successful sellers I know have product leads chasing them, have chasing leads chasing you. So I see a bunch of yeses here. Yes from Michelle. Abso-freaking-lutely. That comment's worth posting. Alicia, thank you. Cool. Well, that's what we can help you guys with. So who wants the leads? If you guys want Q4 leads, Taylor and I are going to take about 10 minutes here. So pull back up and pay attention to this last part, and then we're going to wrap up. We're going to share with you guys how we can give you, last year we delivered north of 3,000 product leads to our Cheddar Black customers, and we intend to do something very similar this year. So without further ado, we are very proud to announce some of the updates to our Cheddar Black 2024 program. A lot of you guys have been around our community for years. We have members that have joined this program. I think Ed Dassey's on his 5th year with us. We've had many, many members join for 2, 3, 4, 5 years at a time. And I think that speaks volume about this program. So we've been doing this for a little bit. This is our 7th year releasing it used to be a Black Friday. It started off as like a teeny little Black Friday list, like one little Black Friday list. And it kept growing and growing as we were adding value to this. We become very good at it. We staff up this time of year on our lead gen. And essentially the core of what Cheddar Black is, for some of you guys that are new around here, this is 4 premium Q4 lead lists and 1 complete package. And it used to be from September through January. We've extended it now to year round. We're the only providers in the industry that I'm aware of that produce a year round list. This is everything you need to be successful and nothing else. Okay, I want you guys to hear me. Taylor can attest to this. I am not a fan of doing calls for the sake of doing calls. I'm a minimalist when it comes to business. That's why we have 1 leadership call a week. And we're not going to do the same thing for you guys. So our goal when we designed this package, we said, hey, if I was a new seller, what's everything that I would need to be successful in Q4? How can I take the overwhelm out, take the stress out? Who's ready to not be stressed in Q4? That's what our intention is. And that's why we're doing this webinar in August, y'all. It is, some of you, it's like 100 degrees out right now, okay? Here in Colorado, it was 55 last night. So every time around this time of year, it starts to get cool in the mountains. That's when I know fall's coming, and let's get our people prepared, okay? Now, before we talk about what you're gonna get, and we're gonna share everything that you're gonna get a part of the package, let's talk about some results, okay? You guys are here for results. I know, and you know that at the end of the day, you don't want a big bag of leads. You want a big fat bank account of net profit come December and January. And that's what we want to deliver for you. Okay. So here's what we can share with you. Here's last year's results of Cheddar Black. Okay. It's a bunch of lead lists and a bunch of other really cool things. Everything that we have that we think can benefit you, all packaged in. There's 4 core lead lists: the Black Friday list, the Cyber Monday list, the Christmas chunks list, which is our Q4 specific, low BSR, fast selling, highly profitable inventory. These leads don't show up on any of our other lead lists. So if you guys are subscribed to, I saw a lot of you have 2 to 4 of our lead lists, and that's awesome. And we recommend you keep those to supplement your inventory. This is last year. We delivered over 3,700 leads, 3,737 to be exact. And we pulled this data straight out of CheddarSoft. About 2,000 of those came on Christmas chunks, which is our folks' probably favorite part of the program. So here's another way to look at it. If some of you guys are like, I wish I could show you examples of all the product leads. It's a plethora. We know a lot of you get gated in certain categories. So our goal literally is to avalanche you with so much data, that you exhaust your budget on the right inventory. Okay, so stuff that you're ungated in. We keep saying prosper where you're planted. Last year, we delivered 3,700 leads, 574 sources. Okay. What could you do? Now, I know there's the Leahs of the world that are on this call that are experts at rabbit trailing. What could you do with an extra 574 sources? Okay. Do you think you could have your VAs scanning through stuff and rabbit trailing better? Now, we pulled all this data out of CheddarSoft. Average ROI of last year's package was 58%. This is at the time that we delivered the leads. Average net profit is $10.37. And this last part is a potential. We can't quantify this, but if you bought one of each item on the Cheddar Black list and just sent one of each item and sent it in, it would result in a potential net profit of $38,694. So I'm not, here's a disclaimer, I'm not guaranteeing that if you bought one of each item, you'd make 38 grand. This is just the data. Okay. You guys get to rabbit trail and run your own business as you guys run. So pretty exciting stuff, man. I don't know, when you guys break down the cost per lead, when you see how low we've priced this package, it's like 40 cents a lead. Okay. And I should preface this too, Taylor, you work really hard. Guys, Taylor works really hard with our team to scrub this, and we pride ourselves. We've got really strict internal standards. We've got probably, for every lead that gets shared, Taylor, you know this better, there's probably 4 or 5 leads that get cut. I mean, we just have a massive database of leads that never get shared because we only want to give you guys the cream of the crop. So with that being said, who's pumped, who's learned, who's ready to see everything you're going to get with Cheddar Black, okay? We're just going to take a couple minutes here and run through everything you're going to get with the program. Lori says me. Lori, that's good enough. Let's go on. So here's Cheddar Black 24, okay? First thing you're going to get is our Black Friday list. This is a retail arbitrage and online arbitrage opportunity. We call this the OG because back when we started this service 7 years ago, this was really it was this and the Cyber Monday week list. It was like the two things we package in. The package was much smaller back in. So if you don't want to spend, 100 hours sourcing through all of the ads when they come out, we've got a team of about a half a dozen people, and we slice them off of our normal team. That's all they're doing is as Black Friday comes out, they're scouring through ads, finding the good stuff, and then it gets published to you in real time. So as we see it, I think there was a question earlier I saw, what's the timeline between when you guys get a lead and when it gets shared? Taylor, I mean, it's same day, sometimes within 24 hours, usually. That's pretty accurate, right?
So our team is going through all the ads as they're getting released to the public. And if we can find one that's leaked a little bit early, and our team will go through that ad and match up the items on the ad to Amazon listings and really create a cheat sheet for you guys when you're going into the store or ordering online, so you know where to take your focus and attention to, what items that are already selling on Amazon with a good, decent amount of profit. And this just helps streamline your purchasing for Black Friday. So when you are in store, you don't have to, you can focus on some of the items that maybe weren't in the ad, do a little scanning that way. But as far as everything that's publicly available, our team's going to put that data together so that way you're ready when you walk in the store with a list of like, hey, here's the stuff I want to buy. Once you grab all that, what I like to do afterwards is like, okay, now let's go scan some items that weren't on that ad that were here in store. So this is your cheat sheet for Black Friday, for sure.
Cheat sheet for Black Friday. We used to say this is like having the cheat codes to your favorite video game. That's kind of what Black Chat's like, or what this is like. So second thing you get is our Cyber Monday. It's Cyber Monday week list. So this will start on December 2nd. This is the OA Seller Frenzy. Again, everything's in real time. So as our team's finding ads, you guys are going to get those. Third thing you get, and I would argue, Taylor, this is the crowd favorite. We've surveyed our customers every year. By far, this is the most important, most favorite thing. This is a Q4 specific lead list. Okay, these are unique leads. You don't find them on other lists, and they're Q4 specific. Fast selling, low BSR, highly profitable. The list is usually, we put 10 to 30 leads a day. It just depends on as we find them. We don't hold back, guys. There's no like secret Christmas chunks list. Like everything we find, we give to you guys. So this is a 5-month list. It runs September, October, November, December, and into January. So you get 5 months of leads. It'd probably be $200 a month if we were to sell this retail, but we don't. It's only for Cheddar Black people. And then the fourth list, okay, and this almost didn't make the cut this year. This in years past, we've always kept an overflow list for our team, and this was a cushion for our main lead list. And last year we said, hey, what would it look like if we just gave this to Cheddar Black customers too? And essentially, when Christmas Chunks ends in December or in January, starting in February, running all the way through August of 2025. So this particular list is still running for our current members. It'll end at the end of this month. We basically said, hey, let's just give these overflow leads to our customers So you get those too. This is the unique thing that we do that nobody else in the industry does. Any other Black Friday or Q4 package or program you're going to see really ends at the season. And we said, hey, we want to build a community. This is more than just leads. We want to build a community, and we want to support you guys for the whole year. So you get the surplus list as well. If we were to sell this, it'd probably be north of $1,000, but you get this packaged in as a part of it. So all 4 of these lists, here's our visual, $2,700, $2,743 to be specific. This is like if we were to really sell this stuff, you get all this stuff, but you get a bunch more stuff too. You get these 4 amazing bonuses, and actually 2 new bonuses this year that we've never done in the past. And we're going to talk about that in about 3 minutes here. Okay. So the first bonus you get is Black Chat. And a lot of people love this. Some people don't, but a lot of people love this. This is an ongoing Facebook. I'm pulling it up on my phone right now. It's an ongoing Facebook group chat, and you get added to this. And if you want to ask a question to the other members of the group, if you're sitting at home on your couch or whatever, this chat's been running for, and I believe this is our 4th year that we've had this chat open, and it gets quite entertaining at times. I think on the weekends, especially after about the hours of 7 o'clock, sometimes this chat gets fun. But a lot of great networking happens here. A lot of great questions happen, and it's a great way to stay in touch with your peers, again, without having to jump on a call all the time. We want to make this really easy for you guys. So you get Black Chat, $1,000 value. And when we decided to add this back in too, guys, we've got our proprietary lead management software, Cheddar Soft, that's currently going through a major rehaul. We're going to be releasing a brand new version of this in a couple of months. But imagine if you had one database where all of your leads live, and you could wake up in the morning and sort that database by, today I want to see clothing and shoes with a $10 net profit, 50,000 BSR, and oh, by the way, sort it in order of the highest net profit to the least. So you can do that with this tool, but we've just upgraded it. And Taylor, I'll let you talk about, we just added a new feature, which is real-time pricing. So now also imagine, compared to all your other lead lists that you're on, that you go find a lead you like, but it got published, let's say it got published 3 weeks ago. You're like, I wonder if it's still valuable. Well, what if that same database could tell you what the updated pricing is on Amazon? And Taylor, you've worked hard with the team on this. Yep. So anything you want to add to this?
Yeah. So for those who were on yesterday's webinar, Grant was talking about the tool that he used to go through old data and get updated information, and helped him, essentially select out the products that he ended up merchant fulfilling. And that's what Cheddar Soft is. It's a lead management, order management tool. So all your leads live in one place. Folks find this super helpful when it comes to, especially the Cheddar Black leads, because there's so many of them. They're able to take all the leads, search up certain suppliers, organize them by, like Gabe said, net profit or ROI. But one of the features that we have is called latest stats. And this is where Cheddar Soft is actually going through, grabbing the updated Amazon stats and updating your leads inside of your database. For this year, last year, we launched that latest stats. It was working, but it was a little slow. So we've been working with the team on fixing it. It's running faster now to where the updates are happening more quickly. But something that we're going to be doing for Q4 is we are going to be bumping up those updates. So they're going to be happening much more faster. We're going to scale up our server, scale up our API access to bring in that updated data for you guys. And so for Cheddar Soft, we're throwing that into the mix. It's 6 months for free. So it's going to cover you throughout the whole Q4 season. For those who are Cheddar Soft users, they can attest this helps them make more money, helps keeps things organized in their lead base. When there's a certain sale or promo, you can just type in the source and you are searching through those leads from that source. Makes things super easy. Makes rabbit trailing super easy as well. And if you're doing all your ordering and recording all your orders through Cheddar Soft, things like making sure that you have purchase orders or invoices attached to your orders themselves, super easy, keeps just streamlines. We run our entire business on Cheddar Soft.
We'll do some more training. I mean, this is a whole training in and of itself. One thing I'll say, if you don't have Cheddar Soft, you'll get the coupon on the thank you page when you sign up. You can get 6 months for free. And for those of you that have it, you can take the coupon, go in your account, drop it, and it'll pause your billing for 6 months. So either way, we want you to have this tool. We want you to use it. So we're giving it to you. Next bonus we're doing, we started doing this last year, is hangouts with Taylor and special guests. So there's going to be 8 of them. We're going to schedule them. You'll get the schedule once you sign up starting in September and throughout Q4. This is basically very low key, these are different than this. Like, this is a webinar presentation where you guys are on chat and we're presenting. These Hangouts are where you can pop out on video like this. So it gives you a chance. I think Tyson mentioned that networking with others and Black Chat sounds awesome. Well, if you want to take your networking to another level and you don't want to have to travel to an event and take on all the expense of travel, I mean, you know, we spend $5K every time we go to an event on tickets and hotels and everything else. You can jump on these Hangouts and talk shop with other sellers. And I'll tell you this, from being a part of these, this is conversation you don't see on webinars and you don't see online, you don't see in the groups, you don't see on forums. This is like closed door type secrets. We can talk very openly about the leads because we're all on the same lead list, so we can be transparent about that. And there gets a lot of connections, a lot of friendships are born from these Hangouts. So these are optional. If you guys want to participate, I would highly encourage you to. And then the last bonus you get, or I should say before our new bonuses, is early registration to 25. So the cart is open for Cheddar Black. I'm going to give you the link in about 3 minutes here or so. But we do this each year. We limit the number of people in the group. We want to keep competition to a minimum. So we've capped the group at 150. And one of the perks is you get early bird. You get a 48-hour early bird release the following year. So you guys can skip the rush. Okay. So it's a bunch of stuff we're giving you. Like, I wish I had pictures for all this stuff and I could communicate the value. For those of you that are in Cheddar Black and have been in the past, if you would mind just posting in chat what you have found the value in, because I found that everybody finds different things, but you get it all. You get Black Friday list, you get the Cyber Monday list, you get the Christmas chunks list for 5 whole months. When that ends, you get the surplus list for an additional 7 months. You get Black Chat, you get Cheddar Soft for 6 months, you get Hangouts with Taylor, you get early bird registration, and then there's a couple new things, okay, that we're going to be testing this year. There's a couple new programs. We're always looking for ways to add more value to you guys. And we've got 3 new bonuses that we're going to release this year. I'll talk about the first one, and then I'll give it to Taylor. So the first one is for those of you that want more leads. I mean, if you're our Black customer, you're like at the top of our list. We value all of our customers, but we treat our Cheddar Black customers like gold. One of the things we're going to do for you guys is we're going to give you a 3-month booster pack of leads. Basically, this is a coupon code. You'll get it on the thank you page, and you can take that coupon code and apply it to any new list subscription you want to add, and we'll give you half off that list subscription for 3 months. So you can join our Nike list, which is our premium list. You could join a 20-person list, a 25-person list. And this is applicable. We got this question yesterday. This applies to new list only. So if you're on a couple lists, we built this and we said, you know, what would someone else need if they're in Cheddar Black? We're giving them all the leads. Well, maybe they want a couple leads, but they don't want them for the whole year. They just want them for a season, and they want them for a discount. So that's what the booster pack is. Another little perk of being in the program. And fair notice, we don't offer this anywhere else publicly. I think we periodically run coupons. If you're on our email list, you can occasionally get like 30% off your first month and different things like that. But we nowhere else, anywhere, do we offer half off for 3 months. It's pretty much giving you the list for less than our cost. We take a hit on the team to deliver this for you, so it's our gift to you. So two new things then. Taylor, what's this Cheddar promo feed? What's the inspiration behind this?
Yeah, so 2 new bonuses we're going to bring out for this year, and these are in testing. We're going to be beta testing this, and we kind of were sat down and said, hey, what else can we give Cheddar Black this year that we haven't given them in years past? And these 2 new bonuses we're kind of rolling around. We've talked about this for a while. So first one is going to be the Cheddar promo feed. This is going to be a feed of sales and promos that our team are finding for that given day. And we're going to just take that data and hand it over to you. So these won't be leads, but just where are we finding leads from what suppliers? Do they have a promo that's going on right now? What is that promo? And are there any limitations? And we think this is going to be super helpful for you guys because it's going to expose you to some promos that might not be in the Cheddar Black list or on the lead list that you're on. Maybe this supplier got shared on Cheddar 1. We're going to just take that supplier name, that promo, and the details and share it with you so that way you know, hey, this source is having a sale in case you might want to go rabbit trail. So that's the Cheddar promo feed. It's going to run from September to the end of January. And then from there, we're going to see, hey, is this something we want to continue doing or is this not? So the next is going to be the Cheddar rejects. And this is another one that I'm excited about. One, I love the logo. I love the way that what our guy did with it. We get a bunch of rejected leads. Gabe mentioned it before. I would actually say on average, we 1 out of every 3 or 4 leads get approved. So we have a lot of rejects. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our favorite rejects. We're not going to give you all of them because that would be literally hundreds a day that you're getting. It would be way too much data. So we're going to pull some of our favorite rejected leads. And by reject, I mean these are going to be mismatches. These are going to be model number mismatches. They are not meant for you to source from. They're not meant for you to purchase. But what they are meant to be is supposed to be a launching off point for you to rabbit trail. Okay, so you're going to be exposed to brands and suppliers and leads that could lead to other opportunities. And so we just want to give this data to you. Again, it's in beta. This is testing. So from September to January, we're going to provide you a feed or a list of rejected leads that our team deemed not worthy for a Cheddar list. We're going to give you that, and then you can take that data and do what you like with it. Again, we suggest it used as a starting off point for sourcing. Do not source off this list. But something we've never done before. We've never shared our rejects. And so we're going to do that for this year's Cheddar Black.
So this is cool. These last 2 things are tests. You guys will get to beta them and see if you like them. Again, the goal is how do we save you guys more time? Like instead of you having to track down promos, let's just give you a feed of them. And instead of saying, well, we don't want to change our criteria for Cheddar, let's just give them the cream that sits right underneath what gets published to our normal list and give you guys more stuff to rabbit trail. So it's all this stuff together. I wish I had pictures for all these things. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas chunks list, the Cheddar surplus list, Black Chat, 6 months of Cheddar Soft, Hangouts with Taylor and guests, the 3-month booster pack, the new promo feeds and the rejects and early registration for this year. Taylor and Grant, I don't know how we could add more. It's $7,130 worth of real world value. I don't expect us to add more, but you're not going to pay $7,000. Okay, we're not going to ask you to pay $7,000. I think it's worth it. We've talked about lowering this group to like 20 people and charging $5,000 for it, but we've had a lot of you ask to be affordable, so we're not going to ask you for $5,000. In fact, we're going to make this super affordable. You can get all this stuff in Cheddar Black for one payment of $1,500, and this is for 150 sellers. And something that we're going to do for this year is we're going to open up the Black Friday list only. So for those of you that are balling on a budget, we totally get it. If you're just like testing out Amazon this year, this is a great way. We're going to open up the Black Friday list only to 50 sellers outside of the group. And the main reason for this, our Black Friday list is that's where our retail arbitrage folks hang out. And so if you're doing retail, and that's mainly where the value is from the Black Friday list. So if you're doing retail arbitrage and you're in Florida and I'm in Colorado, like we're not going to, there's only so much inventory in my local Walmart and you're going to find different inventory in yours. So it helps to kind of spread out the competition. Plus, if we're being totally frank, the Black Friday list is the same ads that everybody is scraping. So if you buy a Black Friday list, ours is comprehensive. You'll find everything on there, but there's no way to limit other people from sitting down and spending 40 hours during Black Friday week going through all the ads. That's just, what we're selling to you and we're giving you is time. You're buying time for $350. What's your time worth? If you spend 20 hours looking for leads, divide 350 by 20. And if your time is worth more than $14 an hour or whatever that comes to, then you're getting a good deal. Okay. So you get all of it. If you guys are ready to get started, if you've heard enough, go to cheddarblack.com. Taylor, if you could I'll just grab the sales page link right here. I'm going to jump this in the StreamYard. Sign up. Here's the link to get started. Okay, this group is capped at 150. We had a bunch of folks join yesterday. Here's our 100% guarantee. We're so confident that this is the best value for your money in Q4 because we've been around and because we subscribe to all the lists in the industry that we'll give you a full 30 days. So you can sign up today. We'll take the risk. I saw someone said she wanted to convince her husband that she needs this and doesn't want it. You can sign up, ask for forgiveness later. And then if for some reason it causes a huge fight in your house, you could hopefully it doesn't, but we'll give you a full 30 days. You can jump in. The Christmas chunks leads will be beginning on September 2nd. So about a week from now, and you can basically test out our leads for a whole month, see how you like Christmas chunks. And if for some reason it doesn't over exceed your expectations, and you're not warm and fuzzy and super happy, and you're not like Ed and you signed up 4 years in a row And we do send a special gift. I think Ed mentioned it in the chat. I'm not going to say it on the webinar because you get to be a member, but we do send you a special Christmas gift every year. It's real yummy. That's all I'm going to say about it. But you got 30 days. For whatever reason, it's not for you. You can email team@Cheddar and you can get your money back. I can say this with confidence because we never, I shouldn't say never, very rarely do we get requests. Typically it's like, hey, I broke my leg, I'm in the hospital or whatever, some weird life thing. And if that's the case, like we're not jerks. We're not like, hold your Cheddar Black money hostage, but we're confident you're going to love this. Okay. So here's real results from our members. While you guys are signing up, Leah's on the call right now. She's been a part of Cheddar Black for 2 or 3 years. I forget. Her first year, she said Cheddar Black made my first real Q4 on Amazon amazing. So we love Leah. She's amazing. And she does a lot of great stuff in the community. Thank you, Leah. Scott says, saw leads that are well vetted. The OA Cheddar team is great to work with. So appreciate hearing that, Scott. And my favorite picture, I think on the whole slide, is Adam Peterson. You probably don't know that. I love passion, dude. Like I love people that can tap in. So 3+ years with Cheddar Black, and every year has been exceptional. Okay, so we just message our customers and say, hey, you got anything nice to say about the program? And this is what they sent us. So we appreciate that, Adam. I think Adam was on yesterday. I'm not sure if he's on today.
He's on today. I actually got a couple more from some of our alumni. So Jennifer Cook says, love the chat. Also the amount of leads I can get through them. Do my buying and get on with my day. I don't feel like I'm missing something. And then Adam Peterson is going to love the promo code feed. Ed Dassey. Kelly, I bought in 2019 and kicked myself all Q4. Now going into my 5th year of Cheddar Black. I couldn't imagine doing Q4 without it. More leads equal more opportunities, more categories, more new suppliers, and more sales and profits ultimately. If you do not make your money back in the leads you buy, you need to get help in your sourcing because that's a ton of opportunity and lots of leads. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Welcome back from their 5th year. Freaking love you, man. Cheddar rocks. There's just a lot of love that we're getting from alumni. The chat's getting pretty active, so it's hard to keep up with all of it, but just lots of love for our alumni of Cheddar Black users.
Cool. So if you're not signed up, go to cheddarblack.com. I will say this program, we're going to close the doors on this program this year. So if you want to do Q4 and frankly, if you can pull that testimonial down, frankly, if, when we do the math on this thing, this is a better deal than if you subscribe to one of our normal lists. Like right now we have a 35-person list. It's $199. They're very popular. If you do the math on that, it's like $2,200 for the year's worth of subscription. What we're offering you here is more leads. Number one, our Q4 leads that won't show up on a normal list. Number two, more leads than you would get on a normal list. And number three, you still get it for the whole year. You just prepay one time, $1,500. It's a screaming deal. I asked Taylor every year we release this. I tell Taylor by the time we get done building this whole thing in Grant, I go, guys, we're undervaluing ourselves. The amount of stuff we pour into, and I have friends in other industries that hear what we've put together in our offer, and they say, you guys are crazy for not charging $5,000 or $8,000 for a package like this, as much as you put in with group coaching and the whole thing laid out. The reason we do this is, look, things are more expensive today than they were a year ago. Groceries are double. Like inflation is real. It's here. And we've done our best to keep our costs low, to pass them to you guys so that you can just get the data, get what you need, and prosper. And that's really where our heart comes from on this stuff. So you get all this stuff, $7,000 worth of value for $1,500. It's the deal of the year. We got a bunch more results we could read for you guys. Josh Baker, best lead list ever. And the CheddarSoft software makes sending inventory and keeping track of leads so easy. Nick loves us. Adam Peterson here. We read his stuff. Susan Ward. OA Cheddar has been one of my best Amazon investments of the past 12 months. Carmen, I'm a paying member for 3 years or more, and it would be my 3rd year to get Cheddar Black. Ed's been here for 5 years. Like, these are real people, guys. And we love that you guys have been a part of it. So don't take our word for it. Here's the deal, though. Okay, we capped this program at 150. And Taylor, I want to ask you real quickly, because this comes up every year. People always ask about competition. And so I'll speak into this and then I'll give it to you. Excuse me. Two things on this topic. Number one, it's Q4. Okay. The amount of demand, the amount of buyers that come in this market skyrockets from a normal time of year. So we have a lot more demand that's buying our products. And number two, I have yet to hear from a Cheddar Black customer that we did not deliver enough leads for their budget. In fact, quite the opposite. Most of our customers run out of budget sometime in November, and they kind of got to take a little break. So, none of us have an infinite budget. Very few sellers are able to buy even 6 figures worth of inventory. Grant, I know you guys pour 60 to 100K worth of inventory for Q4. That's even untypical. So there's plenty for everybody. Taylor, anything else you want to share about this? I mean, you guys buy straight off the list like everybody else. So if there was a competition problem, you would see it. What else do you want to say about that?
Gabe, it never fails. In the beginning of Cheddar Black in September, I always get, 1 or 2 customers who reach out and say, hey, there's too much competition for the number of leads and they're, how we're going to make money on this. And the funny thing is, usually about October, November, and December, those same customers are like, I'm going to miss the Christmas chunks list. This is the best lead list I've ever been on. And I love converting. I love having that change for the customers where they come in and they're so worried about the 150 sellers. And they're so worried that, oh my gosh, everything's going to tank like crazy. And then when they come out of the program and they're like, nope, that never happened. Because what you said, one, everyone has a different budget. Everyone has different sourcing criteria, different restrictions, things like that. So let's knock that myth out that 150 sellers on this package is too many. But also the overabundance of leads that we share with you guys. I mean, it is honestly a crazy amount. And it starts off slow, right? September is a slow burn because, heck, we're still in September, right? Christmas ain't for another few more months, right? But as we get deeper and closer into December, it just starts to get better and better and better. More leads, better sales, better opportunities. And what happens is, just like Grant did, he honed in on a handful of SKUs that he really hammered for merchant fulfill. Other sellers do the same thing. They find where what's working for them and they hone in, right? And so with us giving them an overabundance amount of leads, there's plenty of opportunity for you to find an area where you're having success in, nestle down for the season and make the most of your opportunity. And we've been doing it for 7 years. If it was, 150 sellers were too many, we would be lowering those seat counts because it would be an issue. Fact of the matter is it's not. And those who've come back year after year can attest to the same. So don't let this be the reason why it holds you back from what is behind the doors of Cheddar Black 2024. I can promise you this is not the objection that you're going to have come the end of the program if you join. Your objection is going to be, dang it, guys, why aren't you keeping Christmas chunks going all year round? And our answer to that would be is we do. It's called surplus. So you're welcome.
And I'll say this, I mean, it's like the hair club commercial. We're not just the president, we're a customer. So, Grant and Taylor have been buying off this for 7 years. And so we've got this down to a science. So if it didn't work, it would hurt our businesses. And so we're in the same boat as you guys. So quick question. So Stacy signed up again. I think the second or third year for Stacy. If we're already in the Facebook group and chat, do we need to do anything or will we just stay in the group? So you're good. Yeah. I will say this for those of you in Black Chat, starting probably tomorrow, Cindy's going to begin removing members from last year that have not rejoined. So if you want to keep your seat, go sign up right now. That transition will probably be happening over the weekend, and then expect September 2nd for the leads to start. Okay, so I want to give a quick shout out, Taylor, to a couple new people that have jumped on. I'm going to pull my phone up. This is like real time. Go ahead, buddy.
Before we do that, I just want to point it because I don't think we mentioned this. So Lorena says, hey, Taylor, I want to, but financially I'm not able to. And we get that. So one thing that we are doing this year that we've done in years past, but not right in the beginning. Normally it's something we offer later is there is a 3-pay option. So that $1,500, you can break that down into 3 monthly payments for the next 3 months. If that $1,500 swing is just a little too much for you right now. So there is that available option I want to point out. We brought that this year and we wanted to introduce it because this, 2023, 2024 has not been, the easiest to sell on Amazon. So we want to make sure that we make it a little bit easier to get in instead of, handing out $1,500 right out of the gate. So
dude, we got you guys. We got you. We got your back. Like we've thought of everything for you. Like if cash flow is an issue, do the 3-pay. Like everyone's got $540. The amount of leads you're going to get the first month of Christmas chunks, you're going to be like, wow. These guys are great. And then next year, you're going to be on this webinar being like, this was the best thing I did all next year. Here's what I'll say also, guys. Like let me just be really honest. There's two ways you can approach Q4, okay? You can buy Cheddar Black. We can shove all the data at you guys. We can give you Cheddar Soft. We can put the experts in front of you. We can give you coupons for everything. And you can have peace, have a plan, and just start sourcing early and sourcing often. September, October, November, and go on your merry way and have a happy Christmas, have a fat payout. Your kids are going to think you're the hero. Buy your wife or husband something nice and start January with a flush bank account. Okay, that's option one. Option two, not right or wrong, but you can do it the hard way. Okay, we cannot send you 3,000 leads. You can go out and spend all of your time doing lead gen, $5 an hour, $10 an hour work, and you can source probably a tenth of what you would source. You're still going to have success, but I can tell you from experience, it's going to be very stressful. It's going to be chaotic, and you're going to feel like you're missing out. So if you don't want to feel like you're missing out, that's why you buy Cheddar Black. You don't buy it because you want the lead. You're buying it to avoid the anxiety and the stress that comes from feeling like you're behind the eight ball and seeing all your peers posting in all the groups that you're in, all their success and their screenshots, and you get pissed and you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach like you could have done more. Okay. I know this feeling well, guys, because I'm a recovering self-sabotager. So if any of you guys do this to yourself, it's like this weird addiction. Okay. I've had to get over it over the years. Don't do that. Avoid the self-sabotage, avoid the anxiety and the overwhelm, and just invest the $1,500 one time and let us send you leads for a whole year. Okay. It's the best deal that we offer. So I'll just say that because that's real talk, man. I wish someone would have spoke to me like that when I got started. So I'm going to say what's up to a bunch of you guys. So Leah, what's up, Leah? Welcome back. Appreciate you having been part of the group, Leah. Debbie Zilberman, welcome back, Debbie. I see Patricia Chadwick just signed up. So welcome, Patricia. Glad to have you. I see Mark Frederick. I think he bought a Nike list, actually. Not related. Mark Howell, welcome. Lori Clement, welcome. Kelly Andrews, welcome. Nicholas Marquise, welcome. We got a bunch of you guys jumping on here. So awesome. Congratulations. So this pretty much wraps up, guys. This is our presentation. We're going to spend about 2 minutes here. Taylor, I'll do a formal conclusion for our interview. We're going to stick around for a few minutes if you guys have specific questions and want to talk kind of off the record that won't be shared. I just want to say thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for investing this last 2 hours to be with us here today. It says a lot about who you are. And I've noticed that the people that show up to these calls and show up for their business are the ones that win. There's a lot of, we've seen this over the years. There's a lot of lurkers that are kind of hiding in the shadows, and they tend to get lurker results, mediocre results. You got to show up in your business to have results. So thank you for joining. Congratulations to all the members that have signed up today. And I'll give a special shout out to Grant. If you guys see Grant in the Facebook group and on Cheddar Black calls, be sure to tell him thanks. He lives off of words of affirmation. It's like Cheerios. Okay, so make sure you tell Grant thanks. Grant, anything you want to say in closing, man? It's the best thing we offer all year. Anything you want to say to close this out? Oh, you're muted. Let me unmute you. There you go.
Yeah, I'm just super excited. You guys did a great job explaining what this package is. This is the biggest, best package we've ever put together. We have plans with Christmas chunks. We're kind of changing the way we do things a little bit for that list. So it's going to be the best list with the lowest BSR, fastest selling stuff we've ever had. So I'm excited about that personally. I'm really stoked for the hangouts with Taylor. He's a great host. He loves meeting with people. You guys may not know this, but his schedule is open and available for Cheddar customers to learn about how to use the software. And oftentimes it turns into a mini coaching session. So he loves meeting with our customers. He loves working with our team. That's his personality. So I'm excited to get on there and actually just be an attendee of Taylor's calls. And I know a ton of value is going to come out from that. I'm excited to have Leah Modlin out there. I'm going to call her out. She said she's in. So let's get it, girl. Like, I'm excited to have you there. And you guys, if you're still not sure what to do, go to cheddarblack.com. Scroll. Well, you can either hit any of those orange buttons that say order now. You just click those, right? Go to the checkout page. And if you need to do the 3-pay, which is $540 for 3 payments, you'll be done making your payments in October. And then you can just reap all the harvest in November and December. select which one of those options is best for you, put in all of your details, payment details, and click that submission button. I can't remember what it says, order now, whatever it is. And then that'll take you to a thank you page, and you'll get the thank you email. We'll start migrating you over. The next step after that will be migrating you into Cheddar Black, the chat, the Facebook group. Cindy will take care of that for us. So that's kind of what your next steps are and what it looks like moving forward from here. So I'm excited to have all of you in the group with us. I truly, and I don't say this lightly, this is going to be the best Cheddar Black we've ever freaking had. So I'm stoked, pumped.
And Grant, I got to give true to that. My fingers are tingling. I know this is true. Leah, you can thank Grant for the promo thing. This was a stroke of genius he had at the last minute, like 2 days ago. He's like, dude, I think we should add in these two things. And I literally said, bro, I think you're crazy. I think we have the package is like $6,000 worth of stuff. Like, I don't think we need more stuff. And he's like, I don't care if it's too much. I just want, it was on my heart. I want to give it. So Leah says, okay, fine. I've been sold again. The promo list is an infinite sourcing from my sourcing style. Absolutely. Dare I say, it might cannibalize some of your external lead list. Keep your Cheddar list, of course, but if you got to cancel some other lists because of the promo list, it may be a lead list killer, Grant, for some people. He says,
no, I don't think so. Because Cheddar, we find what we can find, and then everybody else is going to go do their thing, right? Like, I think it's going to be great though. For those of you that love sourcing and you're good at it, I can't imagine any other things that we could give you, spoon feed you every day, to like launch you into like having a successful day and placing lots of orders and buying lots of great. So cool. It's all on the table.
Tyson says canceling other lists now. Good.
Thanks, Tyson.
Good man, Tyson. So very cool. Very cool. So last question you guys asked about the 3Pay. Taylor mentioned it. Go to cheddarblack.com, click through to the checkout page, and on the checkout page, there's a little radial button. You can select the full pay or the 3Pay. If you want to, it's all right there. So, hey, on behalf of our entire Cheddar team, guys, it literally takes a village to deliver this to you guys. Thank you. Be nice to Cindy Rooney. Okay. She's going to help give us about 48 hours, probably through the weekend into Monday, to get all of you guys situated. We have a bunch of new members that are signing up. We've had several more in the last 2 minutes since I've been talking. And so it takes us a little bit to get everybody situated and sorted. And we'll get you all in the right place. I'll leave with this, guys. You're in the right place with the right people and the right leads. Okay. I can just give you peace with that. I'm a maven of sorts. I study everything in the industry, and this is the place to be, guys. So thanks for watching. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you guys inside Cheddar Black.
Hi, everyone.
False close. Okay.